This is exciting. Hello,
Yeah,
everybody.
let's proceed under that assumption then.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jan Gustafsson. The gentleman you can see above me is 8-time Russian chess champion, super grandmaster. Um, that's all I got. Peter Svidler. How are you today, Peter?
Doing okay, did some mildly productive family things and had food, and now I'm ready for the next phase, which is, either a nap or a much improved version of a nap doing this.
It's very unclear what this is. We have come together here because we were planning to cover the FIDE-Chess.com Nations Online Cup, which is a team tournament featuring, I think, most of the world's top players. No, Magnus not playing, Grishuk is not playing, but the rest of the gang, they were in action representing Europe, India, USA, China, rest of the world. Am I forgetting something? Somebody?
Well, we could take a look and
We could look it up. The problem, though, before we get people too excited, is we do not seem to have what in the business we call these PGNs, which we would need to be shared from FIDE or chess.com. And as we're not having those, we can probably not look at the games. And that means we're in it to wing it. Which team did I forget? Europe, Russia, China, rest of the world, India, USA. Probably I forgot Russia. So did you.
you may have forgotten Russia there, yeah.
So we're sort of, in unknown territory here because we don't know if we will get these PGNs or not. Like it's all a new landscape, of course, with the super tournaments happening online now. And yeah, for the Magnus tournament, I think we shared the PGN with everyone, but it's also kind of tricky to generate it. So who knows how this will play out. But in the meantime, what do we do, Peter? Do we tell users that they can challenge you and we play banter blitz? Like, do we convert this into a banter show? Do you have TV shows we want to talk about? What do we do?
Well, I think in order to, at least, pretend this is a chess show, we should say that, yes, it is possible to challenge Paul Borda on Chess24, and you probably will get a game.
Do it. Challenge Paul Borda if you're a Chess24 premium member. This is now Banter Blitz with Peter Svidler, edition 107. If you're not a Chess24 premium member, you can become one. Go to chess24.com/premium.
Indeed. But obviously all those other things are still very much on TV shows, general impressions of Magnussen Invitational, we could do your favorite genre and by proxy, it must mean it is also mine, and do predictions for today's round of the Nation Cup. We could discuss the format of the Nations Cup, because it's obviously, anything that gives us additional chess content is extremely welcome. But it's been a while since I've seen a mixed event, right? It's the first notable thing about it is that it's 3 men's board and 1 women's board.
Is it 3 men's board or 3 open boards?
Yeah, that probably was not the right way to put it, but nonetheless,
3 open boards that happen to be men in this event. I think that's correct here. The problem is, if we don't get any games, we can not cover it. But
and some challenges are already filtering in, so I guess we can still do it. We can still do it while I play.
You can play Blitz, and I will watch the Slack behind the scenes, see if there's any PGNs pouring in.
Yeah, there's also, like, I don't think we've done any bunters with this formula, so you could also kind of roast me while I
don't
play.
know. I feel it's also we've been doing this MCI together for the last 16 days, And I feel there's been enough roasting going on there, and you're at a disadvantage because you're less mean than the rest of us. So,
Although I did get one shot in that I genuinely regretted.
the Lauren thing, I said so
Yeah.
many mean things. I normally don't mean it. I usually just go for the punchline, but somehow Lawrence brings it out of everyone that I like making him the punchline, and that's just, I was gonna say wrong, but it never feels wrong. I don't know. I guess this is, I don't even know what this is. It's not an apology because I don't think it's gonna get better. It's just acknowledging that just because I make fun of Lawrence, you shouldn't do it. And I don't mean you, Peter, but you, the people. We know, and I was gonna say love, but that would have been another lie. And also, how did the show become about Lawrence? Well, the great Peter Svidler is facing H4 in the Night of Banter Blitz.
What do you mean facing? I played it.
Where's my board? Can I turn the board? That's actually
Facing-
correct from your perspective and everything. I just don't like to see it from the black pieces if you're playing white. Maybe that's fine.
Yeah, I'm also
fine,
not
yeah.
doing it right. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to go bishop b2 here, because now b5 appears to be quite promising. But I don't know any theory, which is... And also I was supposed to play f4 here. Why did I play g4? The whole point was to play f4 here. What am I doing?
Also, let's say hi to the chat boys. Chat boys, are you there? Apologies if you came here to watch the Nations Cup. They are not giving us any PGNs. You need them PGNs to work with.
Yeah.
But you
And,
can play Peter. We're happy to share
yeah,
the
playing-
PGN of this very game with everyone that wants it. Sigva Polborta. What's happening? Balash Arato is there with us. And Mr. Bonko.
I also suspect I was probably supposed to play bishop g4 against bishop b3, but bishop b3.
Balash Arato is saying, can you message them to get that PGN? That has happened more than once.
Yeah, there's definitely been some messaging. We are very much on top of messaging people.
I have all the messages. I have WhatsApp, Skype, Zoom, Facebook, Twitter.
That's actually not true. I'm pretty sure you're still not on Telegram. And whenever I encounter somebody who is not on Telegram, these days it just confuses the...
I feel the other way. I get very sad whenever I see so-and-so signed up to TikTok or Telegram. I feel it's wrong and I will not join those frivolous activities.
There is absolutely nothing in common between TikTok and Telegram.
Both start with a T for starters.
That is technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Balasharato is asking, what do you think about the case that the other side has ignored MCI? First of all, I was pretty busy during the MCI, so frankly, I don't know what anybody did. And secondly, I think anybody can do and cover and not cover whatever the F they want. So really don't care. I would have liked to cover this FIDE Nations Cup because it looks like there's some fun games, some fun matches, fun players.
Yeah, extremely strong lineup, and just generally, as I mentioned, like more chess, more better is my viewpoint.
But even if we get PGNs, which we hope we do, we should clarify that this is just a Chess24 hangout show. You will not get cameras of the players. You will not get interviews with the team captains. You will not get any of the good stuff, frankly. It would just be Peter and me talking nonsense like it's 2014 all over again. There's not even a Lawrence Trent or Grishuk on this call. So
yeah, it's completely hopeless. I don't know why anybody would be
go
here.
away. That's what we say.
Exactly. But yeah, for those of you who haven't for some reason gone away, I am now completely winning here.
And Mr. Bonko says, both of you could cover anything. You both have commentating skills. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said. And Peter also has chess skills. He's, winning that queen. Ooh.
Yeah. And we were called former grandmasters by, I believe, either The Guardian or some other paper of note, right?
The Guardian, yeah. I read
which
that.
Which I thought was excellent.
Lawrence was so happy to be called a former grandmaster.
Yeah. And there was obviously it's the thread Lawrence tweet produced some comedy gold with the suggestion that anybody who does any commentary with Lawrence for any length of time does automatically become a has-been, which I think has a grain of truth in it.
Isn't Igor Rouses the only former Grandmaster?
Probably, yeah. And there was also a lot of suggestions on the, on the Rouses topic, but I liked, the opportunity to roast Lawrence some more.
That's never wrong.
Absolutely.
Mr. Dodgy is in the chat. Maybe today, Mr. Dodgy. This is a fun, relaxed environment. Stakes are mediocre. There's like 18 viewers, and it will be 16 in a minute. Maybe today is the day you can join the show. There's no Lawrence. No one will be mean to you. Are you black in this game, Peter?
4?
Why do
I am black in this game, and at some point I knew something about this line, but that was quite some time ago, and obviously absolutely no chance I can remember what the file says. Obviously it doesn't say that, because now the knight has a d4 square. This is just horrible. Very annoyed with myself.
It is a high stakes
Very
game.
annoyed with myself. I guess like basically whatever you do, just don't do this after f4, and probably I think the biggest problem is that after g5 I'm really not supposed to go knight e8 in this move order, so I have already done a great number of very, very bad things in this game. Yeah, I think the point is black goes g5 if white doesn't play g5, and then the knight goes to e8. But if in this position I don't know if you can see what I'm clicking on, probably not, so I shouldn't be doing that. But if white starts with g5, the knight is supposed to go to h5. Truly ridiculous. I'm sort of alive, but not really. The g pawn should be like way stronger than everything else that is relevant in this position. I'm not even supposed to I don't even know where I'm supposed to go with this queen. Maybe here, and if he takes on a5, maybe I have some rook c3, knight d5 speculations available, but once again, probably not. Now, my opponent is very logically now attempting to give forced mate, which I kind of endorse, considering how good his position is. I, on the other hand, am not, a huge fan of getting mated, so I will try to do something about it, but... Queen e5 was probably even stronger, but queen e7 is also very good. Queen h4 probably was just a mistake. I guess we can maybe do this, though. And I have rook g3, which is why I am not instantly resigning after queen f6. Maybe rook g7, rook g1 just wins, though. Yeah, rook g7, rook g1 probably ends the game.
Elo Hunter missed it.
Oh, but he goes rook g7, rook g1 now. Yeah, Elo Hunter doesn't miss things because he has queen e5 or queen g5 check there. Hang on a second, is king h6, king h5 any good?
I still
queen
have
g5 wins,
the utmost faith. No, he's gonna... yeah.
All of these things just end the game on the spot. I think the safest is to take on d5 here. If he takes on g4, he is also probably winning, but it feels to me like there's absolutely no need to even give me the option to give some checks. Yeah, this went downhill quite sharply and dramatically, and all these things. Yeah, after queen takes d5, I just don't have a move. The king on h8 is so weak, and yeah, that's just like... Resigning is not a mistake here. Rook h1 wins on the spot. d7 probably also wins on the spot. Anyway.
Don't resign. I know you wanna. Don't do it.
I always wanna. Yeah. Can I resign here finally?
No.
Crap. But I really, really wanna.
No. Just make a move. Queen h4.
Yeah, well played by my opponent.
It's 25 seconds. The game is just about to begin.
No, the game is very over.
It is, because you resigned.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Fress. Let's play Fress.
Ugh. Just when I thought the day couldn't get any worse.
Let's play our good friend Fress.
Laurent Fressinet, who has been described by Reddit as a douchebag.
What?
I read that thread. It was mainly, in my opinion, very inappropriate shitstorm for our friend Lawrence. And then I read that people said Laurent is acting as a douchebag on the French show, and I thought, yeah, I could see that. But then I kept on reading, and someone said, Jan Gustafsson is not funny. And then I was very upset and instantly left that thread. That's how I spent my days.
How is Laurent No, I refuse to believe
Laurent is a horrible person. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Hey, Spectre saying, hey, what is this? Is it Banter Blitz? It's the Jan and Peter show where we are waiting to see if chess.com and or FIDE provide us with a PGN for this Nations Cup. If they do, PGN are these little text files that you use to share chess games. If they do, we will give our expert opinions on that event. If they don't, we'll continue winging it. And Peter Svidler, the 8-time Russian champion. Is it 8 or 9? Can you win another one? So I'm no longer in doubt if it's 8 or 9.
Well, you could still be in doubt. I mean, I don't know how that secures your doubt-free existence, Jan.
No, because I will know it's never it. I would know it's not 10. But if you
okay, so 10 is clearly too outlandish for you to ever believe.
Yeah,
right?
10 is not happening. Let's face it. But 9 could very well be. Therefore, just make it 9 so I don't have to. Be
Fair enough.
Curious. Galactic is saying, Laurent is still mad at Nepo. What happened there? Mr. Bonko wants to know, Jan, what does Magnus mean when he said the French school of suffering? He said, he mainly means that Maxime Vachier-Lagrave has a tendency, if in doubt, go for a bad endgame that Maxime thinks he can hold with his speed of thought and tactical prowess. And more often than not, he does.
Somehow, I think I ended up in a really pleasant Prodigy type position, or maybe not that pleasant actually. And that goes to a4 and c3, which is
wow, such hubris from you.
Yeah. I don't know how it could even occur to me I could have a nice position.
Yeah,
it is so completely.
First time I hear this in all these years.
Without, outside the realm of possible. Yeah, still kind of worried about that thing that I mentioned, but maybe I can, create some questions in the center. Who knows? Okay. I'm on board with that.
Chess8924 is saying, GM Svidler is only playing against other GMs and IMs. No, I don't think he is. He just happens to currently be playing.
Such a large list of challenges as I normally would for an announced banter, and I always do start with the higher rated ones. But there will be some mixing and matching. I already
play some fishies.
I already got my ass handed to me once, and if that experience continues, if it persists, I might very well be encouraged to.
What is going on? Unhinged. Peter said ass.
Yes, Peter did say ass.
Okay, let's focus on the game. I should not distract you while you're battling.
Yeah, very important. What did I do? What did I just? This is just so. I mean, not only arg. I have no words for this. This is.
Why are you sad now?
Because bishop takes b5, it didn't even occur to me the move existed when I was playing.
But you can recapture cb5.
I'm aware I'm not losing the knight, but it's still very upsetting when the notion that your opponent could take something is... maybe I'm actually kind of okay here, yeah? Just go after the d4 pawn.
I thought you were fine all the way. That's why I was surprised.
No, I
and
was
so
fine.
upset.
I was fine. And in particular, once the queens came off, I was pretty sure I was doing reasonably well. Yeah.
Faggy is saying my Rocket Beans appearance was impressive. Thank you, Faggy. I enjoyed it. Impressive, I would not say, but yeah, it's a different vibe.
What's a rocket beans?
The one day I abandoned you, I did this German
I just
internet
didn't know it
show,
was called
which
that,
is more beginners geared. And I'm not my usual professional, soft-spoken self, but you know, I tried to make some jokes on that show. So,
And now we go after his queen side and hopefully win.
wow, King B8.
Yeah.
I know Laurent, he's gonna try to checkmate you, but he won't manage.
This might not work out. Yeah, I mean, like, I have a very number of things here I could go for.
Can you take the pawn?
I can, but like, I'm trying to figure out what's the, like, do I need to be very scared about g5 and h5? I go rook c1, c7, but yeah, let's not overthink things. Just do this.
I'm reading that the FIDE Nations tournament is underway, which we don't have PGNs for yet, but I'm also reading that Ding Liren is representing the USA. That just sounds wrong. They're strong enough already with Fabiano and Hikaru and Wesley, so they don't need Ding Liren.
How does this come out?
Just run.
I think it comes out well, right? h2, rook h1, and then I just give that rook and I should be winning, right? I assume.
I have to admit that I think more often than not, lost to Laurent in these bench blitzes. So I have to say it makes me very happy to see him lose. That's...
Oh, hang on, I'm just winning by doing this, right? I don't need to be fanciful here. What? Oh, okay. I like my setup in the corner there. I don't think you see that very often. I think that's a reasonably pretty setup. Okay, let's do some non-GM things.
Give me one. I have to try something. I'm not sure if it will ruin your carefully crafted screen. Let's see. Seems like it doesn't, right? You can't see the screen actually, right?
Zoom is currently minimized, yes, so I...
No worries. Looks like it's fine.
Another line of the French where I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, so...
Which line of the French do you have any idea about?
That's, yeah, maybe some lines of the French, occasionally, but yeah, not this one. I lost a very painful game to Dmitry Andreikin in that line in one of the Russian Super Finals where, you know, had I won that game, I would have been able to please you, Jan, by winning modern 8 eventually, maybe, who knows. But I lost it horribly.
Yeah, I do recall that. Sorry. It's like that old Jennifer Lawrence joke when she was complaining about her income. How can a 25-year-old live on $54 million per year? I feel the same way. Like, how can you get by with 8 Russian championships?
Is that a joke about Jennifer Lawrence or by Jennifer Lawrence?
That's about her. I think she had a valid cause about, you know, whatever. Income inequality in Hollywood or something, but people pointed out that she's not exactly starving, which, of course, has nothing to do with original poster.
Yeah. so like we get to some position like this, and then I think like the best case scenario for me is neither I nor my opponent knows what goes where. But I think what normally actually happens is I have no idea, but my opponent plays perfectly, and somehow my king side gets demolished, or some other bad things happen to me.
More great news, or not sure if great news, but we do have access to the games now. We did not get them from FIDE or Chess.com, as far as I hear, who, let's say, were struggling with problems. But we can have a look. After you have ground down our friend Galactic. Is it ground or grinded? Should be ground.
I think it's ground, yeah. And also I don't think it's happening, but
it's gonna happen.
That's neither here nor there. No, I'm pretty sure I'm much worse, but yeah.
I'm almost out of coffee.
How is that possible? That seems like a crime against humanity.
I don't disagree. Monster Magnet is saying, hello Jan, what kind of function do you have if Peter plays? Comments only. Double question mark. You could ask the same question, what kind of function do you have when Peter comments? Actually, it's mainly dumb jokes and my great looks. So I'm eye candy, and I operate the jokes cannon. Not well, because I'm German, but those are the rules here. I did use a lot of hair product to please you, Monster Magnet.
Yeah, I really, really, really need a haircut.
Yeah, I went yesterday because haircutters have reopened here, but there were huge lines in front of them because probably I wasn't the only one who had that idea on the first day they reopened. So I did not manage to get one, but I managed to pursue more hairspray, put it into my hair, which I think has the same effect. Also, while putting that hairspray in, I inhaled a little by accident, which maybe cured me from COVID-19, I'm hoping.
So this is where you're going with.
Yeah.
I was wondering where this was headed. Yeah, because, inhaling substances.
Is asking. My chest got worse when I was drunk the other night, but I didn't think my chest could get worse. Please explain.
Hi, Neil. And,
don't drink and chess, Lorinda.
So Galactic is now attempting to give, like everybody today is trying to give me mate for some reason. It's very upsetting. Also, haven't they learned from, all the years of watching us that there is no mate in chess?
I don't know. I'd love to have a mate.
So what are we doing? Are we looking at the things?
Let's have a look. Why not?
Okay.
Who's playing? Oh, it's MVL versus Nepo.
Yeah.
Those are the co-leaders of Le Tournoi des Candidats.
Des Candidats, yes.
But MVL already played Nepo there with white. So he did not have to worry about holding back his deep night of preparation in form of 6 bishop d3.
Exactly.
It's not a bad move. I shouldn't bully.
No, it's not. It's not bad at all. No.
Yeah. So they get some.
And Nepo's reaction is actually kind of interesting because he just transposed to 6f4 pretty much directly, but against 6f4 I played 6f4 throughout my childhood as on the white side of an either. And people who played knight b7 and g6 never really worried me all that much, so I think it's probably one of the better outcomes of 6 bishop d3.
Yeah, I also had a tough childhood playing these lines. Can't recall what happened.
Yeah, you do play knight f3 reasonably quickly, so I think it's more or less a direct transposition. And I mean, I'm not saying black is worse, but these positions actually do give white some hopes for an advantage, which normally isn't true in the 6f4 lines. There's also a game between Vishy and Hikaru, in which Hikaru continues championing that.
One at a time. Let's see what happened here.
No, this actually got a lot sharper very quickly, and I've been trying to figure out if GF5 is completely unplayable. I'm still not sure. I guess maybe we even recapture, but I was looking at something like maybe H3, Bishop E2, Queen E2, F4, and looking for a move there. But maybe there is just no move there.
I don't know. I don't like GF, but I guess that's
well. Yeah, I mean, neither do I aesthetically, but it's either a pawn or if white takes EF. Like if I ever get to play E5, E4, I will be extremely happy with black in this structure, I think. But yeah, maybe it just doesn't work out. Also, I'm very worried that if I allow knight G3, I will never have that chance again, and the bishop on G4 will get a little bit stuck. So maybe knight H5 is a move you could consider.
Let me just get my joke in before we move on. I'm sure there's a lot of GF dislike in these days of quarantine. Familiarity breeds contempt. Okay, I'm done. Knight H5, interesting.
Knight H5, somewhat interesting, but I'm worried about F6, bishop H8, and then never coming out of the corner. And he played H6, which is something maybe I should have considered more seriously. Interesting time control they went with.
25-10?
Yeah, 25-10 is like the old standard of rapid play, which more or less completely disappeared by now. And throughout the MCI for like 2.5 weeks, we were discussing the fact that playing rapid online appears to be actually kind of challenging for people who are very used to playing chess online in general. And it results in people often treating it as a kind of a prolonged blitz game.
Poor Nepomniachtchi, what's he going to do with all this time?
Yeah, and if that was true about 15-10, what will they do with 25-10 is going to be really interesting to watch, because...
we should also say there's 12 games going on at the same time, while in the MCI we usually had 2. Therefore, it's going to be tough to cover all the 12 games at once. So we'll just, jump around, who knows. Peter might play some more blitz in between, or someone might recite a poem. This is more of a variety show, so please don't complain if your favorite player does not get enough airtime here. Or do complain. Actually, yeah. Please do complain. Yeah. And Vishy versus Hikaru.
Your complaints to Jan.
At Chess Problem on Twitter will handle all your complaints.
Very true. Very true. And yeah, although, yeah, I keep on forgetting the round has been going on for a while, actually. And I wanted to say, considering how quickly Hikaru has been playing, this is probably just equal.
Hikaru plays his knight bd7 again, which is played throughout the Magnus invite with mixed results. Is mixed result generous? I think, he got under quite some
little
pressure.
Bit generous, honestly. Yeah, he did not have a nice time of it. Lost a decent chunk of his black games in this line, and
Vishy plays
would have lost more.
Which, frankly, is considered the least dangerous among Bishop E2, C5. You could add Fabiano's CD5 to that list, maybe, because these positions have been established as quite tenable. Which, of course, Vishy knows. He played this against Kramnik in 2008 in their World Championship match. Did not get very much. So let's see if something happens.
Or anything at all, frankly. I'm a little bit surprised that after Rook FD1, Black didn't just take on E3, but maybe it gets a little bit awkward. And now I think everything will come off the board. ED4, Queen D4. Although, hang on a second, Queen F5 is a move as well, yeah?
Hikaru does not miss such stuff.
Yeah, I was wondering if keeping the knights on was good, but actually here, if we take the threat of 92 check makes it very awkward to continue. So I think Vishy actually takes on d4 twice and goes rook d7. And he does establish at least one rook on the 7th, but...
Come on, this is just gonna be a draw. And Vishy knows it. I think he's a playing captain for Team India, so he probably, just wants to get rid of captaining duties. What do we do? Rook e8, king f1, rook b5?
Yeah, rook e8. Yeah, I think we could also start with rook b5, but including rook e8, king f1 cannot be a mistake. Yeah, it doesn't really look like this. This should shock too many people, but I mean, you still have to probably pay some attention, because if the second rook gets to c7 and you still haven't done anything,
Kausa is saying. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done. Yeah, who is saying what?
Kausa is saying, will Kramnik make another commentary appearance? Is what this was supposed to read. Yeah, Kramnik was supposed to do the candidates commentary, then dropped out a day before because he did not agree with the tournament going ahead under the circumstances, which was, of course, late notice for us. I don't know. I haven't heard from him, but of course we'd be delighted to have Kramnik doing commentary in the future. I believe he's in this event as a team captain for... Which one? India? Russia?
No, I don't think he is, actually. I think Gary captains something, and Varkovich, I think, captains the rest of the world, but...
I think he's captaining somebody.
Maybe he is, yeah. I'm not as well versed
in the captain's game.
Yeah.
You're always welcome at the captain's table. And yeah, he's the captain for India, which undermines my theory that Vishy is the playing captain.
That is really strange, because I think I've seen interviews of Vishy where they asked him how he is going to, do the dual roles.
I also don't think it's true, but we need confirmation. If I had to guess, depending on what I read like 30 minutes ago but forgot, I would say that Kramnik is the captain for Russia, Vishy is the captain for India, Kasparov is the captain for the Europeans. I could be wrong though, and the reason why we think of India is of course that Kramnik is the team captain for India, or was supposed to be, at the real chess Olympics, which of course...
No, Russian captain is Alexander Motilov, as he normally is. I'm checking. I've gone to the FIDE website, and Russia is captained by Motilov, so that actually limits the number of countries Vladimir could potentially captain quite significantly.
Then it must be India. Then Vishy is, playing captain and Kramnik is advisor. Because it's very important, let's face it. It's very, very important that during online rapid matches you have an advisor that you can't talk to during the game. That is an absolute key role, and I'm sure Vladdy is filling it out greatly. The advisor to the team, Vladimir Kramnik. Interesting that. It's like The Godfather. Tom Hagen was by far the most important.
So he's the consigliere of...
Yeah, and he's a great wartime consigliere.
Okay. No, I mean, he obviously is an absolute boon to any team he actually decides to help. Like, jokes aside, having Kramnik on side for anything is excellent. But
I don't think he's in India.
Yeah, he probably.
Speaking of who is who, Vishy is still in Germany, right?
I don't know, but
I did. Still in good old Bad Soden.
Okay. So yeah, we should probably look at some other positions. This one is a little bit dry.
Fabi, world number 2, Fabiano Caruana, is playing against Vidit, the Indian number... Is he number 2? I think Vidit is number 2.
Probably number...
Always close between him and Hari.
Yeah, Hari may have lost some rating, because it was clearly Hari number 2 for quite some while, but he didn't have, I think, the most stellar of 2019s. Fabi is, I think, quite a bit better. Yeah, something has gone wrong here.
Fabi's pretty good. This looks like an Italian, or wasn't an Italian, we'll say.
But it's very close. I mean,
slow Spanish, which sort of an Italian gone wrong. I've been in such situations where all of a sudden you can't get rid of the horsey, and you're not quite in time to simplify here. And it's unpleasant, to say the least.
The question now is, I mean, white is clearly better if he just goes g3.
Yeah, he played g3.
But I was wondering if maybe there's some mate. After the speech about no mate in chess, I was still wondering about knight g7 or bishop h6 or something. But it probably wasn't working. But as long as you play g3 and don't allow any of the black light pieces to land on f4, you're always going to be very pleasantly better. Extremely annoying position for black.
Yeah, no fun. We should explain, I think, the Chess24 regs are used to this at this point, but we should still explain. If the green traffic light up there is green, then it means we have the actual game position. If we make some dumb move, it turns to red. That means analysis. While here in the corner, you can see the actual game position. It could also be green if it's a position from earlier in the game. Like here, this position happened in the game, but it's not the current position, which is the one over here. Got it?
Got it. And there's already a very long theoretical discussion in whilst we're on the topic of India. Hari and Linier are discussing some kind of a line of the anti-Berlin, which I'm sure you know something about. I really don't.
Anti-Berlin is not really my favorite topic, but let's have a look. This is the old stuff, no? There's knight c3, bishop d4, knight d5.
Yeah, bishop e3. I don't think I've seen. They all play bishop h4 here, or at least they.
This is some Kayaki and Vishy and McShane, somebody, and so on. Yeah. And bishop e3. Looks like Hari came with an idea, but no, all of this stuff I've seen. Not sure if it's been played, or maybe I've seen it in some file.
95 is very cute. Whoa, 95.
One thing about Linier Dominguez is he's a stellar theoretician, and he's worked, I think, much more as a trainer, a second click boy, as I like to call it, over the last couple of years, partly because he was not allowed to play while he was waiting for his green card, I guess, and for his transfer to the US. But he's done a lot of clicking. He's worked for Fabiano Caruana in the World Championship match. And recently, I was surprised to read that, but I did read that. He's helped Rajabov preparing for the candidates, which, for obvious reason, didn't go well. What I'm trying to say is Linier Dominguez is incredibly well prepared. And in the Berlin, if you do a memory check, usually he will pass
I just
it.
wanted to... 95 is just such an unusual tactic that I wanted to show why you can't just take it. Because then black takes on b2, and seemingly, endgame full piece down. Yeah, there is this stunning geometry of playing queen a5, and one of the bishops just falls. It is a very beautiful idea. Yeah, and also the only move that equalizes in this position. So yeah, everything you said about Linier is definitely true. He does know.
I have no clue if this is still from memory. He's also pretty good at chess, so he might just have
Yeah,
found
he
this
could have
tactic.
found it. He could have found it, but I wouldn't rule out him just digging it out of his memory banks.
Speaking of dinging it out, is Ding resting? I can't see him.
I think they rested Ding, yeah.
Wow, it's a bold strategy, Peter. I wonder if it will pay off for them. But I want to see current Prodigy against former Prodigy.
Yeah.
Because the only two 20... Is that true? The only two 2700 players that broke 2700 when they were 16 were these two gentlemen, Ali Reza and Wei Yi. Apologies to Magnus if you did it too. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I'm not the best at these types of trivia, but could very well be true, yeah.
I'm being asked to pump up Peter's volume. I can do it a little in this tool, but probably Peter can also do it with, I don't know.
Well, I got the mic slightly closer. If I do that, the picture becomes a bit blurry, but nobody wants to look at me, and very few people want to listen to me as well. But that's
it's constant overstatement.
No, there was an interesting experience. I don't know. It's kind of weird to bring it up, but I was very impressed by the principal position when we were preparing for the last round of MCI. Somebody asked in chat. The pre-show was in full swing, but I wasn't on air yet, and somebody asked in chat if maybe I had better things to do today, and I said no. And then that person said, "Oh well, mute," and actually left. And I thought, this is a kind of a principle stand you just have to respect.
I didn't get it. Did I miss a story time here? Like someone disappeared because you weren't on air, or because you were on air?
No. I confirmed I will be on, and that was kind of instantly the breaking point for that particular.
So after you were on every day, he checked in to see if you would also be on the last day. And when you confirmed you did, he left the show.
Yep.
So what's going on here?
I thought black is completely fine, but maybe it's not that easy to unpin the pieces.
Brenda saying, I like the story. Yeah, it was one of the better ones.
Har har.
Why do we start with the bullying again? I have this new.
It's what we're here for.
Hashtag be best.
You have this new hashtag be best?
I just heard about it. And if there's any anti-bullying expert out there, it's the hashtag be best. So I'm trying.
Yeah, it's been in force for a while and did not appear to make any kind of a dent in the...
No, anyway, I'm on board with hashtag be best. If it was hashtag be fresh, I would be protesting. So is Alireza better? Alireza, the 16-year-old phenom, playing for the world team, while Wei Yi, the former 16-year-old phenom, who maybe, and I mean this with all very due respect, maybe serves as a bit of a cautionary tale for Alireza, because Alireza now gets what Wei Yi got when he was 16, all this, who's better, Carlsen or him at that age? And it does put a lot of pressure on people, does it not?
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that point. Although, and I mean, this will sound slightly unfair to Wei Yi, I suspect, but I did play. I think my first game against Wei Yi was very soon after he, became the anointed one, the one everybody instantly assumed will play, a match against Magnus within the next couple of years or some such. And I mean, he was clearly a very, very strong player, but I think Alireza is a lot more rounded as a chess player at his 16 than Wei Yi was.
Yeah, Wei Yi was a little more, once again, this 2700 level, they're all great at everything, but was a little more of a one-punch man in terms of amazing tactician. But yeah, not all the basics as covered as it feels like Alireza has them. Also,
yeah, because Alireza in particular, like I can't claim to be a huge specialist in his career path and his stylistic choices and all that, but some of the things he was doing in the Magnus Invitational, where, for instance, and we touched on this on air, but when he actually went for those very dry positions against Hikaru, I was, about as sharply critical of that decision as I do get on air. I normally, we all know I'm the master of hot takes, and I'm, constantly.
It got a little ugly.
Yeah. But
when you told him he should go back to school and forget about chess, I thought you were overdoing it. But we all speak for ourselves here.
Exactly. I was surprised, and I really thought this was just a wrong choice, not just a dubious choice, but more or less flat out wrong. And then he proceeded to completely outplay Hikaru in both of his white games in positions which Hikaru had been playing for 10 years. So it did make me kind of sit up and take notice.
Did you already say who's better and why here?
I think it's white, but I think black probably makes a draw. White has I think, two options here. Rook c1, which looks very attractive, but also doesn't create a threat, which means that black probably has a way to, but then we will play h4 or h3 or something, and there will be a threat. But it's also not that easy for black to actually spend this tempo constructively. Maybe rook e6, I don't know. Or you could just take on c5 straight away, because I think in general black wants to play rook e6. And if we take on c5 in the current position they have on the board, that will force black to make a decision between bc, which gives white a passer on b5, or knight takes c5, which gives up the pawn on b6 for some immediate jumps, which I don't know if they're good enough. Something like bishop f5 or bishop e6, but bishop c6 does appear to control most of the jumping squares here. So yeah, it's a still not entirely out of the woods for Wei Yi, but I have a feeling black holds with correct play.
To end our hot takes on Ali Reza, I of course agree that everyone's situation is different and we can't really compare his case to the Wei Yi case. I also do think that Ali Reza, he has this je ne sais quoi, as they say in Chartres. He has that burning desire. You can somehow feel it even through his personality. He's sometimes a little bit mercurial. He's a complex guy, and I think he will go very, very far. He might not have a world champion's wardrobe yet, but he does have that DNA. No pressure, Ali Reza.
And in the meantime, Vladislav Artemiev apparently is completely winning against Levon.
We should mention, to be serious for a second here, that it's great to see Levon Aronian back at the chessboard. That was with all that is happening in 2020, but yeah, stunning, incredibly sad news to hear about the passing of his wife, Ariane Coley, at age, I don't even know, 33, somewhere there, incredibly young. So yeah, it's just incredibly sad, and yeah, it's good to see Levon is playing here. I don't care about the result. It's just good to see.
Yeah, we all wish him all the best, and this has not been a good year, but that particular day was one of the sadder ones so far.
Yep.
Horrible news.
So he's in trouble, yeah?
Yeah, I think this position is not great. He was probably not doing so poorly, but then he played g5 on move 30. Kind of a thematic idea, but allowing takes on rook d5 was... He could still take with the queen on g5, and I guess his position is maybe sort of still defendable. But yeah, here he just gets under immediate pressure in the center, and the current position appears to just be bad after most legal moves.
Yeah. We should mention that his opponent, you probably have heard of him at this point, but if you haven't, this is not exactly a giant upset or a nobody he's playing in rapid chess. Vladislav Artemiev, the man from Tomsk or Omsk, I will never learn which one he is from, is one of the best rapid players in the world. He's young, 22 years old, amazingly strong, especially at faster time controls, but also in classical. He's hit the world top 10 a year ago, and you will hear more from Mr. Artemiev.
Yeah, and here, I mean, queen h5 probably is the most direct way to end the game, because the king wants to run towards the queen side, but after queen h5, king e8, we can go d6, and everything starts collapsing. The move Artemiev played, which is rook f4, is also plenty good enough. Creates the threat of rook h4, also the threat of rook c4. Yeah, things will start collapsing here for black.
All right, what else is there? Let's look at Zatonsky against Humpy. This is the women's board. Anna Zatonsky, the, I believe, 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many times, US women's champion, hails from, correct me if I'm wrong, I think from the Ukraine, but lives in Germany, is married to German top player Daniel Friedman, representing the USA here, and Humpy, the I think, number 2 currently in the women's world rankings. Not sure if number 2 or number 3. But she's back. Was off the scene for a while.
Yeah, she took a bit of an extended break, but when she does play, she is incredibly strong, and once again, good to have her back and playing the game.
Yep, and
Black is normally, I think, doing quite well in these structures, and it's just important to kind of know that in these types of positions, the fact that Black has the pawn on g5 is extremely difficult to exploit. And he is just not that worried about it, because the knight doesn't really get to f5. There aren't really any squares where it could go from which it could reach f5. And even more notably, if, let's say, the bishop on a8 gets traded for that knight, even those positions are just completely fine in terms of king safety, because the knight on f6 covers all the squares it needs to cover.
Before we proceed, just showing this, Artemiev went rook c4, picking up a lot of material. This game is decided.
Pretty much over, yeah. There was a very, very sharp blow up in the MVL Nepomniachtchi game, but it quietened down since.
Maxi boy.
Yeah, he is still a bit better. Actually, maybe more than a bit better, yeah, but I assume that if we take on b5, we'll lose either the d3 pawn or the b3 pawn, and then the position probably is a draw. Rook b5, rook d2, rook d5, rook b2 is what I mean. But there was a moment specifically I wanted to show you the position after move 23, where White
wow, he did go for the GF.
Yeah, and in this position after knight before gf, White did have the option of just taking the bishop and after f4 playing knight h5.
Oh.
Yeah, which is, once again, I didn't check it very deep, then queen d1 here. But the machine appears to suggest this is better for White after something like queen g5, g4. But MVL decided against and went for kind of a version of the same, but is now left trying to win an endgame. I mean, he's still definitely better in, but I'm not sure if it's possible to win in practice.
Some nice tactics here, but these guys are both such fast calculators that none will bamboozle the other here with their little trickery. This should be.
Well, I mean,
even if you lose, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, like White is currently 3 pawns up. He will be 2 pawns up after he loses one of those two. I don't know. Maybe we can even afford to take on f6 first, because I think our threats will not go away. But maybe White goes rook b4 here. Maybe we actually play rook d2 instead, because I think picking up one of those two is more important. And now rook b2. And I don't think, like, of the d3, f6, and g4 pawns, I think one definitely falls. And then I assume it's a draw, because there's just so little material left. But yeah, those are not safe assumptions. I wouldn't be very happy, you know, betting the house on Black holding this endgame.
And we have questions. Why does Peter only have one shoulder? Did you have surgery? What's going on?
Yeah, that's why I said that, you know, bringing the mic as close as possible to improve the sound does delete parts.
It's a green screen situation. That's what we're talking about. Got it.
Yeah, but I mean, one shoulder, 2 shoulders.
Well, you have to shoulder the analysis load in this program, so you might need them both. Draw in Anand Nakamura.
But notably, Black did have to give up 1 pawn to make it, and honestly, I'm surprised at how easy seemingly this draw was. If we look at the position, I don't know, around move 30.
Boring.
Is this such an easy draw?
Yep.
I mean, it is now, but like, in all seriousness, is this such a? Now it is. Now, when you've left yourself with this setup with 2 rooks on the 4th, which cannot really support the pawn on a4, really shift anywhere. Yes, it is, but like somewhere here, I wasn't sure Hikaru will make it. Maybe I just don't understand.
He made it.
But he did make it, yes. In other news,
Where do we go? There's so many games.
Yu Yang-gi, I think, is completely winning against, Basim.
Let's talk about these guys. Yu Yang-yi was considered the second strongest Chinese player like a year ago, I think is fair to say. Little behind Ding Liren. Of course, Wei Yi was lurking, but Yu Yang-yi was established as a 2,750 player. But recently, he's been somewhat overtaken by Wang Hao, who qualified for the candidates, is higher rated, while Yu Yang-yi has had a bit of a rough time. I'm not sure what's going on there. Whenever I see him, I've seen him play. He looked very strong.
Yeah, I respect him greatly as a chess player. I think he's a very, very strong chess player. But he's fallen off a little bit. At some point he was rated around 2660, maybe even, and it
2760.
looked. Yeah, sorry, 2760, and it looked like a very, very clearly deserved, and there were absolutely no questions about, where he got all that. He was just playing very solid, very stable, consistent chess in every tournament. But then he had, I think, a somewhat poor year, which I don't know what preceded what, but like he came within one match of qualifying for the candidates in 2019. He needed to beat Ding Liren in the semifinals of the World Cup for both of them to qualify.
Yeah, it feels like that was his turning point. Ever since then, he has not had great results. Maybe there was, tough blow for him. And of course, qualifying for the candidates is priority number one for all top 10 adjacent players. So you can understand.
Pretty much.
If it goes a little downhill if you don't match.
And in this position, he is just a pawn up, and like everything about his position is better than Amin's position. So I assume he will convert soundly. It's just very difficult to imagine where Black's counterplay is coming from. He is also pawn down. And
what about Bassem? I mean, he's in trouble here. Okay, that was a weak pun. He's also a medical doctor. Is that correct?
Yeah, he is. He is a doctor of medicine. He obviously is sort of less of a full-fledged chess professional, considering that I think in any country.
What is this guy? He's like the first African player to break 2700 while also being a medical doctor?
Yeah. This is what I was going with. Yeah, it's he's clearly an immensely talented player, because combining, in particular, getting a medical education with playing at this level is.
I have family members that got a medical education. It seemed like this takes some time, actually. So to do both.
Yeah, not only time. Not only time, but it's I think kind of widely recognized as the hardest education you could try getting in terms of years required and pressures that attach to it, because you will be in charge of people's health and lives potentially. So yeah, very strong
should at this point add the usual disclaimer that you and I are not medical doctors. Like,
absolutely not.
We might be people with a good, but before taking our medical advice, ideally consult a doctor, unless you have nothing to lose. Okay, I'll stop. This is not funny.
This is. I mean, it is a little bit funny.
Slightly funny, but it's also very serious. So I should. Yeah. I don't know. I'm uncomfortable.
And the Russia match is actually by far the most outlandish of everything that's been, because. Like,
by the way, why are you not on the Russia team? Why is Grishuk not on the Russia team? What's going on there? No disrespect to Mr. Andreikin or anybody. I'm aware you have many good chess players.
I have some info on the second part of that question, but because it is not about me, I don't feel like I should be. If we ever get Sasha on, we could maybe ask him, and he could, answer or decline to answer on that topic. But as for me, like, no three-board team of Russia these days, I don't factor in the conversation.
Oh, we have a medical doctor in the chat. Mr. Bonko25. At least he says so. Sometimes people lie on the internet, but I don't think Mr. Bonko... It's a trustworthy name to begin with. He's saying he's doing my residence in neurology. It is not an easy career. All right, so it's confirmed it's not easy. I had my doubts, but Mr. Bonko does confirm it. Thanks, Mr. Bonko. Yeah. He's also saying he's not a chess pro. Gotcha. So if we have any questions about hydroxychloroquine, we can direct them at Mr. Bonko.
You can actually pronounce that, yeah? I wouldn't even try.
Hydroxychloroquine?
Yeah.
Come on, I'm not the only one who mastered to pronounce that word that struggles with other words.
Okay.
Mr. Dodgy is saying, has Peter solved his medical ELO problem yet? You don't have to answer if you don't want to get too close to the mic. That was funny.
Probably, although as is often the case with your jokes, it went completely over my head.
No, you couldn't know why I was funny. That's why I had to add. That was funny. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say that like all three boards in all three open boards, because I think Garechkina's game is a lot more contained and doesn't feature as much madness as the open boards. But like all three of the men's games in the Russia versus rest of the world. Is it? No, it's not the rest of the world. They're playing Europe, right? Hang on.
I have graphics somewhere.
Yeah, they're playing Europe and
Europe versus Russia.
Yeah, and Jan's game actually has already been drawn. Levon resigned, but Duda is basically destroying Andreikin here, completely winning position. So the match will probably end up being a draw because Garechkin and one of the Muzichok sisters have also drawn their game. A potential, it's nothing new. They've been playing each other for a while, but they might.
Europe and
I think
Russia?
it will be probably the Muzichok sisters might play each other when Europe plays against rest of the world. And,
this is confusing. Who do the Muzichok sisters represent?
Well, Anna plays for Europe and Maria plays for rest of the world.
But do they play for different federations usually? I'm not trolling.
No.
I genuinely.
This is what I meant. Yeah, that they played a decent chunk of games against each other, but only in personal competitions.
Yeah.
And as far as team competitions go, they obviously both represent Ukraine and have been Ukraine's boards. I believe 1 and 2 for.
Didn't Anna?
Oh, hang on, no, maybe Anna is now playing.
Excuse me if I'm mixing this up.
Yeah?
Didn't she play for Slovenia in the past?
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong on this count. Yeah, maybe that's old news.
So Duda wins this game against Dmitry Andreikin in the Prodigy battle. Firuza has a passed pawn, but where he is active enough, this looks fine.
Yeah, I think with the rook behind it, I don't think black runs any kind of significant risks here.
Actually, maybe you'd rather be black, no? Like.
Yeah, but also no. Like, yes, but it's a draw.
Yeah,
what I'm trying. Yeah, like.
No argument there.
Hao drew against Rajabov in what appeared to be like a probably perfectly played theoretical Nimzo, which you, I assume, would know something about. You probably cover all this stuff in your...
This might be in my video series, even though that series is some years ago. But yeah, these lines. It's a very minimalistic approach for white, and Rajabov, who's extremely well prepared, doesn't play that much, but works a lot on chess. You can't catch him off guard by playing Queen C2 Nimzo mainline. Made an easy draw.
Yeah, so what do we have left? One match is actually completely finished. As I mentioned, the Russia-Europe match is now drawn at 2-2.
Hang on,
the China rest of the world match is currently 1-up for China, with Hou Yifan having a very nice position against the Maria Muzichuk, so China probably wins their match against against rest of the world. And in India versus USA, there have been 2 draws, and Fabi remains quite a bit better against Vidit. And the position in the game between Humpy and Anna Zatonsky is quite sharp. So maybe that match is maybe the one to go to.
On my way, I just put on the results on the screen there as well. So Zatonsky against Humpy Conero.
Yeah, it's somehow absolutely an ungodly mess now, which is very difficult to figure out.
I know Anna from the old days when she was living in New York City. There must have been a brief period when I was a young
But apparently
man.
they went down to very, very low time, because in this position, Anna, instead of Queen D2, which was still fine, played Rook takes C7, allowing what my screen says is mate in 5, which is a bit of a blow.
It is over.
Yeah.
Rook C7, check. Double attack, so you got to go Queen F4, but this is, you know,
I think she must have missed
it's a
Rook takes
pin.
C3, which is something she would not have missed if she did not have like 5 seconds left.
Yeah, it's probably an unpleasant situation to be in.
Yeah, and if you play Queen D2, you like, there's no choice. So I think you are supposed to play Queen D2 simply because nothing else really works. But it's a tough move to be making on very, very limited time, because of how shaky your position appears visually. So yeah, we missed clearly a transition from a quietish position to this tactical struggle, but
Beautiful struggle.
Humpy comes out on top, and Hoi Fan is. I mean, black is a pawn up, but I don't know how easy it is to convert. Probably reasonably easy, right? Because you just play Rook B2 and you start pushing your.
Let me just try something. Go easy on me if this does not work. It does work, okay. Just to have an overview over the scores. There's only 2 games still ongoing. Fabiano has to win against Vidit to secure 2-2 for the USA. And Muzichuk would have to win against Hoi Fan, which is unlikely to happen, to bring the rest of the world back.
Yeah. That doesn't seem like a thing that could happen.
How about Fabi? Can he win?
Yeah, I think this probably is winning with best play, but not that easy to autopilot. I guess you just play King E6 and you try to play for a 5 F6, and Bishop B6 check and kind of win directly. He goes King E4. I assume with similar ideas, but I mean, if King E6 was possible, I would have preferred to play King E6 because I think it's a lot more direct. But it was allowing C3, so I understand why Fabi wasn't, didn't feel he needed to. I think is the easiest way to explain it.
By the way, do we call him Fabi? Because on the broadcast, I was always torn if I should call him Fabi or Fabiano. I think Fabi's fine, right?
I don't think he minds, and as long as the player himself doesn't mind, I don't see a problem. It is a bit familiar, obviously, but hang on a second, is he winning now? Because the pawn on a6 seems to be falling. Like, it seems to me that maybe now the best white can hope for is that famous endgame.
Which one?
2 bishops versus knight.
If we go here,
but you're not even guaranteed you'll get it here anymore. I think this may have been misplayed. I think I'm going after this pawn, and f4 bishop, f6 bishop b4 even exists now. It has to be very close to a draw now.
It's a big one. Can India defeat the USA, who looked like they were fielding a very strong lineup, but of course are outmatched a little bit, just rating-wise, on the women's board, where I think Humpy is probably like 200 points higher rated than Anna Zatonsky.
150, but yeah.
On the other boards, hard to do much better in a competition like that than Caruana Nakamura And was Wesley still playing?
I think Wesley got rested. He was rested for today simply. Yeah, they have four very strong players.
Dominguez also not exactly weak and rapid as you can see, but at 2.786 next to his name. Yeah, here the rating differences. Yeah, these are rapid ratings where I would guess Humpy and Zatonsky both have not played that much rapid. I'm pretty sure Anna's stronger, and so is Humpy.
Yeah, Vidit probably would hold this position in the classical game now, but in rapid, I think I still think it's possible to blunder something. Your pieces are. I mean, if Black actually establishes a blockade on the f6 square, he no longer loses kind of ever. But as long as his pieces are still a little bit up in the air, there is some scope for shenanigans. Currently, bishop f6 check is just a threat, which is why Fabi sidesteps it by playing bishop.
He spots it. This would have been bad. Drawn, let's say.
Yeah, still a draw. I mean, bishop f6 is still a move you can make even here, but then white just goes king d5 and continues shuffling around.
Yeah, might still be an idea, no, to just throw it in there.
Yeah, the thing, he played 97 knight c5, and then the king went to d5. So he just goes 97 back, I assume. Because what else would you do? Oh no, hang on. Here, bishop h6 check. This might become a bit. I guess
still
funky.
Still
King
fine.
e8, king d8 doesn't lose, but it's awkward.
Yeah.
So if it
here
goes king g7,
it's bad timing because this is hanging. Two bishops against bishop is pretty drawn.
Yeah. You just get your king into the corner, put the bishop on the long diagonal, and that really is the end of it. It's not a very difficult drawing construction.
Yeah. Do anything that doesn't blunder the bishop.
I quite like king g7.
He's teasing.
King f6, I guess. Yeah.
Such a tease.
Yeah, I guess you start with bishop c3 check, and after bishop f6 you play bishop b4 then. But then black will be able to actually establish that blockade on the f6 square I was talking about.
Yeah, well, it's pretty drawn.
97. Yeah, it's just not a lot. King e6, knight e5, and then knight f7, and we start just, giving checks to the king when it approaches.
Yeah, Fabi, this is not gonna work. Hu Yifan, in the meantime, has won her game. That means that China beats the rest of the world 3-1, with Yu Yangyi defeating Bassem Amin and Hu Yifan beating Maria Musichuk. And it looks like Caruana will not manage to defeat Vidit, which would mean India wins their match as well, while Europe-Russia ended in a 2-2 after Levon Aronian's loss and Duda's victory.
Yeah, I mean, Fabio obviously will continue playing because, he is, if anybody is better, it's him, and also the match situation absolutely demands that he doesn't offer a draw here, but I don't quite like getting the king all the way out to h4, where it will be in a second, but probably it doesn't really change anything. Check and king h4, let's say bishop f1. I think we've actually created a little bit of a question for ourselves here. Should still be a draw though.
Pieces are less compact than they used to be. And as we all know from John Nunn's book, Secrets of Practical Chess, loose pieces drop off. LPDO.
Yeah, favorite concept of our dearly beloved colleague, Lawrence Trent.
Shout out to Julian Hodgson, if you're watching.
We know you're watching, Jules. Don't lie to yourself.
I'm not that sure.
That would be a sad day.
Jules, if you're not watching today, please watch tomorrow. Because I think we'll keep doing this as long as we get them PGNs. And let's face it, we have no life.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be
what
back.
white.
Bishop b4. Knight f6. This is exciting. And by exciting, I mean, should be a draw. But we did better. Stay focused for another 10 minutes of massage.
I really would have preferred to have the king on g7 in this position. I'll be honest with you. I'm a bit confused why it's on h4.
Thanks for your honesty.
It might actually become not entirely pleasant on 10 seconds. So you do need to pay attention, and Fabi will be very precise with the questions he will ask every move. And yeah, now I think we did just generally 6 minutes against 10 seconds. You probably just peak the bishops against knight, honestly. The knight is on the correct square right now. The knight, no, hang on, no, it's not. It should be on g2, not on g3.
Yep, that's the only thing I know about this. You put the knight on g2, you keep your king close to it, and you dance around it. I think that's the only thing anybody knows about the knight game. But
pretty much,
well, we did get it there. Somehow that's the best construction. I think you lose this.
Yeah, I think in practical terms, but on the other hand, it's a very rare game in games between two strong players, and sometimes, you know, despite even, first of all, we have to announce, like, I think it's theoretically current understanding is it's theoretically winning, right? It might be.
I would guess so, yeah.
Yeah, but it takes
Might
a very
be
long time when you have
more
to
than 50 moves, which is a chess nerdy thing. You have to win in 50 moves. In some positions, theoretically, you need 75 moves to break the resistance. And by winning 50 moves, I mean you need to be able to capture a piece or move a pawn in those 50 moves. And if there are no pawns left, it's hard to capture one. So maybe it's actually useful for white to leave this guy on the board for a while.
But yeah, Fabi allows it to run, and then you have to pick it up. Now the pawn is gone, and now we can start the count. The pawn got taken on move 99. And yeah, this is where my arbiter knowledge is just not sufficient. Is it 75? Like, at some point, you were actually allowed 75 in some endgames, and that endgame definitely would have been on that list. But I think they just moved everything down to 50 anyway, right?
I think it's all 50, yeah. There were these discussions that for certain endgames it's up to 75. But I recall Magnus was asking about that during a recent Granke tournament when he got one of these weird things. I think he got something like, what was it? Rook Bishop versus Bishop Knight, something strange like that. And he asked, and he was told it's 50 for everything. Mr. Prodigy, who is not only a medical doctor, but also a trained national chess arbiter, says it's not 75 anymore. Everything is 50. There are still some complaints that your mic is not loud enough. Mine is too loud. I have tried to adjust it a little further in this little tool, but now I'm at the max. So apologies.
All out of adjusting. Hang on a second. Let me. No, my mic is at 100%.
Wow.
So I mean, I can't turn it. I can't turn it any higher up. On my end, I think.
Been there.
Let me check. Maybe I can find the.
Don't worry about it. The majority is saying it's all right.
The majority.
Ooh. So Fabi's going to win this.
Silent majority, or
nope, it's a very vocal majority. how would the silent majority even say it's all right?
Good question. This is why I was wondering. But yeah, everything appears to be turned up all the way to this. Hang on. We cannot stop. Do we just win now by bishop d1? This has been really misplayed by.
Yeah, you can't separate.
No, but then king g6 maybe. Maybe you can
rider.
still. Maybe you can
D1
still get
blade.
your setup. Yeah.
King g6. You're still in your way.
Yeah, but king
If you
g6.
get here,
obviously-
it's much different ballgame.
Yeah.
Because
King
when we said
king
g2,
is very clever. King
That
e6
also
is
is
very
nice.
clever by Fabi. I suspect it's just quite easily winning now for him because knight h5, bishop c2 check. You force the king into a poor square, and maybe now we can just force. Maybe not. Huh? Maybe even here.
still not
Like
so
does
simple.
end
huh?
up
Thought
getting the
check.
setup. Yeah. Maybe king e7 instead.
So the knight should be on g7, g2, b2, or b7 with the king next to it. That's the defensive formation that we are all being taught in chess school.
Let me just check. It's obviously an endgame where, anyone armed with a table base would be infinitely stronger than.
You think?
Yeah. So bishop. Apparently, king e7. No, king e7 is still. No. It's curious because after bishop c2, king g7 check, there was a number of moves here which said plus 1000. So that's mate in a number of moves. And king e7, which looked like the most obvious, actually drops that evaluation to plus 55, which is still winning. So I assume black doesn't save this, but
All right, Duke Aggro, we only have one solution here. You have to stop watching the show. I think that is the only way we can guarantee that my voice will not blow your speakers. Sorry, we both tried, but we found no solution. And sometimes it's the best to just part ways, honestly. We can stay friends, but just stop watching. I think that's the way to do it here. Fabi and Vidit are probably friends. They're both nice guys. Vidit is more friendly with Anish Giri, whom he has worked with in the past. And I'm not sure. Sasha Grishuk, for example, said he only played Vidit once. He doesn't know the guy. I'm not sure. Vidit hasn't been around that much at super tournaments, so maybe he does not have a big relationship with Fabi after all. What do you think?
probably not a close relationship. But I think Vidit is just such a nice young man that hard to imagine him, beefing with anyone. It feels like I should be able to just find something like mate in 10 here, but I don't see it. It's a bit of an annoying endgame because even when optically it looks like the weaker side completely misplayed it and it should now be just absolutely straightforward, it still somehow isn't. And Fabi actually went back to the setup that the machine was very much advocating for. So maybe this is now going to be simpler. But I still don't know. Maybe hang on. If he goes knight h5 now, maybe we can corral it, right? We go bishop b2, knight g3, bishop f3. Yeah, and no. Then king g6.
Duke Aggro is saying, it's not just me. Read the chat above. Just trying to help, that's all. I didn't say it was you. Actually, I said, it's not you. It's me. We're not playing the blame game, Duke Aggro. I'm just saying, it will not work between you and my voice.
Yeah.
As for the end game, yeah, who knows?
No, clearly winning by this point. It's just that it's very aggravating for me that I can't instantly figure out how to get that knight. I thought bishop b2, bishop f3 was very clever, but that runs into king g6, and then the knight continues jumping towards good squares.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think what Fabi is doing is just right. Now we play something like bishop d5 or bishop b3 and pass the move, and that should be enough, question mark. Because black is in a very, very Zugzwang looking position. Bishop h4 probably also good.
It's a nice.
Yeah. Yeah, black just never ends
So
up establishing the situation he needs to establish. Yeah. King h7, king g5, knight g7, I guess king f6, or maybe even bishop d3, and then king g6. Looks like Fabi will win, and that if Fabi wins, that saves the match for the US, right?
Yes, then it's 2-2. If he draws or loses, the US lose. That is the math.
And now I can actually calculate King G4, King H7, King G5, King H8, King G6. This is no longer difficult.
Wow.
Fabi is just going to win. And yeah, Vidit will be kicking himself because
Cold
honestly,
irony that the knight gets to the square, but then the king does not get to the square. Needs to be. Sorry, Vidit kicking.
Vidit will be very unhappy about losing that position. He had a run move, let's say 75. You should not be losing it very, very often, or at all, perhaps. But Fabi, as usual, Fabi was so much in control on the clock that even in any game you normally see black hold. 95% of the time. Becomes a lot trickier when you have absolutely no time to consider your moves.
And there's a question by Juan GM68. He's saying Svidler hat has a rare effect in his hair. Is he digitally inserted in this background? What people don't know is that this is not actually Peter Svidler. We are using a Peter Svidler hologram while Fabian Caruana wins his game and saves the match for the US. I'm not sure if you've seen a Star Wars movie. It's the way they work in Ewan McGregor, aka Obi-Wan Kenobi, into these things. That's how we deal with Svidler. So I think it's a pretty good version. He does all the stuff like the mathematically speaking, this should be a draw. This is cute. It has all the features, but it's not the real Peter.
Yeah. Deep fake, as someone correctly identified in the chat.
Exactly. Pizza Racer is saying, we don't believe anything Jan says. That's sad, but that's, sometimes when you name harsh truth, people don't want to hear it. Checkmate.
Looks reliable, just missing an arm, exactly. But I mean, that model, that particular model doesn't really need an arm. What it needs is a mic and an internet connection, and everything else is pretty much optional. How do you even know there's, anything below the part of the torso you can see on your screen?
There isn't.
Exactly.
It's like this. I already said, well, the Star Wars hologram, so I will lose credibility if I now claim that it's just your head, like in Futurama. All right, so let's look at statistic. Lorinda is saying, I was so sad when Ewan McGregor died. Yeah, Trainspotting was a rough watch. Europe is equal to Russia, 2-2. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave draws against Jan Nepomniachtchi. Those are the co-leaders of the candidates tournament that was paused at halftime, both 4.5 out of 7. They're both in a good position to be the next challenger for world champion Magnus Carlsen. Levin Aronian loses to Artemiev. Duda beats Andreikin. Mushichuk draws Goryachkina. Peter, India, USA results are all yours. Can you see them actually? If not, I'll keep reading. Anand draws Nakamura. Vidit loses to Caruana. Hari Krishna draws Dominguez, and Humpi Conero defeats Anna Zatonsky. As explained, there are 3 open boards in this event, mostly occupied by men, and 1 women's board. And now my little graphic changes to round number 2, before I had the time.
Yeah, and that will start according to the schedule published on, I think, the official website. And once again, this is just me and Jan doing something we decided on at the very last minute. The official broadcast is either on the chess.com page or the FIDE.
It's probably much better. They have interviews. They have, people genuinely interested in chess. They have all the good stuff. But it looks like we found a way to get those PGNs, so we might as well keep doing this. For today, it's called the Jan and Peter Show. Maybe tomorrow we'll call it FIDE Chess.com. What's the tournament called? Online Nations Cup Commentary, round 3 and 4. That sounds like a catchy title. Nizai is saying, very disappointed Jan missed my question. I know Peter saw it. I missed it.
I did see it, and I liked the buff on that card, but...
Oh, was it a Hearthstone question?
Yes.
What questions do you have?
But anyway, yeah, like I like the buff, but I really hate it made Priest a class again. Priest players, don't get me started.
Please don't get him started. Like, this is not a serious show, but it's not unserious enough to talk any Hearthstone.
Yeah. Anyway, I was going to say that according to the official schedule, they are supposed to start round 2 in about 10 minutes time. So we could talk about what we've seen in round 1, or I could play another blitz game, whichever works for.
Let's play one clip. The good old Svidler's bad day? Why not? And then
sure,
we'll be back
with
another blitz game and round number 2 of this thingy. Challenge Paul Borta on Chess24. If you happen to be a Chess24 Premium member, if not, you can become one chess24.com/premium. We'll be back very soon.
A question on Twitter from Damas. I should not have pronounced that. That was a bit of a trap, yeah?
For those of you who are new to chess, it might look like ba3 is an illegal move here, because white advances pawn 2 squares, not 1. But it's a little something we call en passant. And you can do that, but you have to do it instantly. You can't wait for a move, like let's say play king e7, king g2, and now try, because I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry. This is too funny for words. This is a software glitch? I'm pretty sure there's not a lot.
Lawrence. Hello, Lawrence. Yeah, I'll play 4 against Lawrence. And now he's going to play something against me which we discussed at length during the course of my stay. Yeah, he told me this is excellent. d5, this was what I was kind of hoping for, because now I think e5 is quite strong. No, Lawrence, this is not how chess works. Sadly, it would be much, much more fun if chess actually worked like this. But I don't think it does. Or maybe it does. Well, that's me regretting what I just said. How did I get from there to here is a little bit beyond me. And what's worse, I will never hear the end of it. My quality of life has just gone downhill tremendously because I'm actually sharing the office with the guy.
And we're back to our great variety show, the Jan and Peter Show, that covers the FIDE Chess.com. I keep forgetting this is not on purpose. No.
Let's not just look at openings.
Misclick. Sorry.
What's happening?
The FIDE Chess.com Online Nations Cup, a tournament with 8 of the top 10 of the world in action, and also has other fun elements like banter blitz with Peter Svidler built into the thingy. So challenge Paul Borta on Chess24. He will play a quick game, and then we shall continue with this lovely show of ours.
So, one game, yeah?
One game.
Should probably pick a 3-minute game so that we're not too late for the second round, I guess. Hang on.
I'll get a coffee. Good luck, Jackson 2020. Don't put numbers into your thing. It never works.
Why?
For example, next year, what's he going to do? Change his username to Jackson 2021?
No, but I think maybe it's some kind of a specific Jackson who ran in a campaign this year. So perhaps this is a volunteer of that campaign, and he wants it known that he was part of the viral grassroots movements.
Strongly doubt your theory there.
Also, sadly, because of the break in the bantering,
Jackson's not there.
2020
Get rid of
appears
Jackson.
not to be there. Has your quality of life recovered, Peter? From which point, State Domain? From, you know, from when I was 20 and hale and healthy and with my entire life in front of me, or like what's the benchmark there?
It's in that clip where you lose to Lawrence, when you're saying your quality of life went down.
From that moment on, I suspect yes. Why am I doing this to myself? Why do I continue pretending I'm an English opening player? I don't know anything about this opening. I did play this position once against Kramnik, but he did not teach me anything, apart from the fact that it's very, very difficult to beat Kramnik. I'm not sure I'm supposed to play c5 here, but if black allows me this option, it feels like I should be availing myself of the opportunity. I was a bit worried about this. Yeah, I thought this probably is the best reply my opponent has. And I am now unsure how to proceed. I was planning to play queen e3, and then I realized if I play queen e3, he takes on d6 with the rook, I take on e7, he goes rook e6, and he actually captures my queen. Which is less than ideal. Let's maybe do this for now. And this is also kind of a blunder, because my intention was to meet knight h5 with d takes e7. But then black has bishop takes d4, not rook takes d4 as I was counting on. d5 I quite like. I think it's the correct approach. This pawn needs to be pushed. I wanted to play bishop h6, but d4 is still quite annoying. I'm now coming to the realization that maybe queen d4 was not the best move in the position. Meh. Very meh. I'm a bit surprised with this, because I think maybe now I will be able to stabilize and solve. Why bishop e5? Why do I allow knight e4 here? I'm really not, you know, the sharpest knife in the drawer today. I mean, bishop e5 does make sense positionally, because if I do get to play something like, I don't know, queen g5, next move, or queen f4, or queen d4 in particular, and get the dark bishops, dark colored bishops off the board, it will be good for me. But yeah, this move, yeah, I should not have allowed this. Maybe I'm still, you know, ever so slightly better, but I suspect not. Allowing bishop h6 is a mistake. I should have, but then again, maybe there wasn't a good choice. But now suddenly and completely hang on, can I take with the bishop? Maybe I can, yeah. Completely hang on, there's bishop takes b2 in the end there. Or maybe not. Yeah, this I kind of calculated. This I'm not that worried about. But bishop b2 was a very serious move that I missed. Yeah, now this is obviously very good for white. There has to be a reason why nobody really plays queen a5 on move 9 there, but I don't know it. And what I showed in this game is probably not the reason, but I will end up sort of getting away with it. Have the game started? Maybe we could play one more. Let me just check briefly if second round began in the Nations Cup. Seems like it hasn't yet, so let's play one more. Why am I constantly white? The RNGesus appears to be firmly on my side today in terms of color distribution. Why are you constantly white? Simply put, genetics. You aren't wrong, Jake. I'll grant you that. You are not far wrong there. There's definitely something in what you say. I think I recommended knight a5, c5 here. If I haven't, I will go ahead and recommend it now. I think that's probably smarter. But this line is also fine. There's nothing really wrong with just playing castles and replying with b4 to the bishop going away. I'm not so sure about knight a5 though. I think white normally has, you know, decent reasons to be happy about this particular structure, because e4, e5 threats become quite real at some point. I'm very interested in it already here, for instance. I may have blundered bishop takes f8, e5, e4, but if all else fails, I have bishop g7 there. And this position is just bad for black because you really, really need to be able to play knight d5 in these structures to not get completely rolled over. Yeah, here, I mean, I'm even better if I just play e6 here, but I want to go for something more ambitious. I don't know if knight e4 is correct. Maybe rook c1 was better, or queen e2 was also a move I could consider. Knight f6 check is now a very serious move immediately. Or like I could go queen d2. There's just so many. My issue here is that my position is kind of too good for me to make a choice easily. Whoa. That's very cute. Unfortunately for my opponent, it loses. But it is very cute. I'm not going to pre-move rook b1 because I think actually, yeah, precisely because of that, the best move my opponent has here is actually rook takes b3, and pre-moving rook b1 against that would be a little bit of a mistake. Knight f6 for the fans, yeah. Apologies, fans. I would go as far as to say knight f6 for only the fans. Or OnlyFans for short. I don't know. Like pretty much everything wins here. Just let's not blunder any back rank mates here, and then we're Gucci.
What I miss?
Not a ton. I have a nice position and probably even time enough to not mess it up.
Must be nice.
Indeed. Indeed it is.
What's up, chat boys? I'm reading the Twitch chat. Chess24 Twitch, and of course, the chess24.com chat. This is a low-profile little hangout show where we are covering the FIDE-chess.com Online Nations Cup. Will I master this? Which should continue with round number 2. Probably any minute. I've heard conflicting reports about the restart time. A player that rhymes with Spanish theory is pretty certain that it restarts at 5 p.m. But I also heard that that's Central European Standard Time. I've also heard that the schedule says 16:45. So we will probably never know. Did I zoom out of your banter blitz? Did you win? Did you win? Yeah.
I did win, yeah.
Congrats.
If it's not restarting yet, I can play one more. We could just chew the fat, shoot the breeze, and all
Keep
those
chewing
good
that
things.
fat.
Yes.
Challenge
In particular.
the one-armed bandit, Peter Svidler, a.k.a. Paul Borta now, on chess24.com if you happen to be blah, blah, blah. 9 minutes to the next round. Then we'll be back with all the action in this world thing. Where, let me try to bring up the pairings for the next round. Probably fail miserably, but try I shall. No, can't do it while you're playing. We'll figure that out.
I think we only played one game in the Bundesliga one year, and that game didn't last very long. Louis Atwa.
What? You and I?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a peaceful affair. DK Growth is saying Trent's absence is appreciated, by the way. He will be back. Don't you celebrate too early. Not during this event. But the Trent Master shall never be written off. What's the other topics we're discussing? Roll 6 is saying, Jan, do you have any beauty tips? You're easily the most handsome and well-kept man I've ever seen in my life. I'd like to disagree with you, but you're not wrong on that topic. The truth is that it's probably unattainable for mere mortals because I have a team of people in charge of my looks and my physique that, is just not there for you average Joes. You can try to emulate my lifestyle. As a start, only eat oatmeal and protein shakes, nothing else. Then you do want to get a kettlebell in these quarantine times. Work out like 5-6 hours per day. But there's also a lot of surgery involved. So it's not simple. That's the best advice I can give you for now. So Peter's playing Beinsteller. How's it going?
I have no idea. I think h6 connected with c5 shouldn't be the way to go for black in these positions, but like I also think maybe I lost a game to Lesnichka starting from here, and I was very upset because it was a team competition, and my team captain looked at me very, very strangely and said, "We sent you the file. Why couldn't you at least repeat the moves in the file?" And he had a point. They did send me the file.
Who was that? Ryazantsev?
That was in Tromsø, so that may still have been even Dohoyan potentially. I'm not entirely sure.
So according to our intel, the tournament continues. In around 5 minutes, we'll see if and how we get those precious PGNs that allow us to see the game. And then we will talk about it as part of the ongoing Jan and Peter show. By the way, there's been a lot of shaming about these non-Bluetooth headphones that we're using, and rightly so. Just to show that I am very rich, I will now display the AirPods that I also own, but I cannot connect them to my computer. I'm working on that because it feels weird in 2020 to wear this cable, and I cannot handle a lot more of this cable shaming. I'm not sure how you feel about it, Peter, but it is getting to me.
It's not even the shaming. I'm actually very upset because you know how emotionally attached I was to my aftershocks, but
Yes.
they died. They
Unreasonably.
died one day during Vike and never recovered, and I'm still in a state of denial and grief. Like Dabda is still very fresh in my heart on that topic. Like they're on a shelf somewhere in my room, and every time I pass them, I kind of glance at them, lovingly, and think to myself, how is that? How is that still my life? My aftershocks not with me.
That is very sad to hear. Nizaya is saying, I'm only waiting for Sasha to turn up. He better, otherwise it's false advertising. What do we say? By calling it the Jan and Peter show? that is fair enough. You never know with Sasha. I don't think we've told him how to get here, and there are no deals in place, but he's always welcome on our little programs. You never know. That probably was false advertising. Trent might show up.
He might, yeah. Although perhaps today he is just unaware that this thing is happening.
Don't worry. We haven't told him.
It's less likely, yeah. Good evening, lady. Yeah, we could try doing the good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, but without
there's no copying
I think,
Sasha.
Yeah,
Bigger
there's
man
only
tried.
one person in the world who can actually pull it off, and that's not me.
There's a
Alright,
question if I
so-
speak Russian. Yeah. No, I speak absolutely no Russian.
How are we time-wise?
We got like 3 minutes or 4 or 5. Or who really knows? Just, keep it going. And once we have games, I will just rudely cut you off, as I have done literally a million times by now.
Yep. I'm white literally in every game today.
Must be nice.
What's with the algo?
Oh, it's my friend Chess Beauty of Thailand Open fame. Thailand Open did not happen this year yet, because I have not given up hope.
Yeah, that was a good one, Isaiah. I'm very appreciative of that.
Chulo Sarvagan is asking, is Chess Beauty Jan's account? It should be, but no, it's not me. I would not be eligible for that WIM title.
Arg. And some more arg.
Peter, you're allowed to share the source of your amusement with our tens of viewers.
I can't do the proper accent, which would be required to read that comment out loud and have it be funny.
All right.
So I'm not going to even try, but I have enjoyed its appearance in our stream.
I'm reading Laurent again. Is Laurent back? Chess Beauty? Joke. We should have Laurent on the show. Call him out for all the mean things he said about us in the French stream. Don't think
Has he?
we are not informed about such Hurtful words, Laurent. We hear everything.
Yeah, once again, as usual, I can't calibrate for whether this is true or not. If it is true,
Laurent is in the
incredibly
chat. He's
upsetting.
saying more funny than baguette jokes. I am in pyjama, unfortunately. That's not really, you know.
That's not
an issue.
disqualifying.
I'm
That's
not
not
sure
really
if what I'm
disqualifying in
wearing
any way.
qualifies
Like
as pants. I'll tease a bit. I'll tease a little leg there.
E5. I was expecting knight takes d5 somehow, but e5 is also
Is
playable.
list your top 5 Reddit threads from the past month. I only read the one, and I said, yeah, sounds reasonable. Yeah, they're horrible people. And then I got to comment 350, and it said, Jan is not funny, and I rage quit that Reddit thread.
Yeah.
It was traumatizing. How dare you? Funny boy, 1, 2, 3. He even started with saying, and I know comedy. Slatan56 is saying, you are in pyjama too, Jan, while I froze this Svidler hologram. Sorry,
What
that
should I-
happens
what should I
sometimes. It comes with the hologram territory, but I think I reactivated it. Peter 17. Say something
I'm-
if you can speak.
I think I'm still here. I can sort of.
Ah, there he is.
And
Pusher
this is a
saying-
kind of a hanging bone situation you generally try to avoid with black, but maybe not against me because I'm not that proficient on the stronger side of it.
Cthulhu is asking, do you still have that French fro? That's a question for Laurent. I've seen Laurent yesterday. There is a lot going on with that hair situation. Oops, what was that? Oh, I have this thing. I should be careful. I have this thing which I never use. This, what's it called? Stream Deck. And I think if I push one of these buttons, then it changes the scene.
You actually got yourself a stream deck.
It's been here for years. I just, I never use it. Is this a good thing?
I'm extremely
Tech
jealous.
boys out there?
I'm extremely jealous. Yeah, I want a stream deck.
How does it work? I have buttons here.
I earned a new badge, people.
I'll push buttons. Let's see what happens.
I am now a WIM killer.
Congrats.
I don't know how that makes me feel. I have extremely mixed feelings on this topic. Why is this a thing? This should not be a thing.
It's because you killed a women international master? Killer sounds too strong there. to
Yeah,
me.
but
Like, defeater?
yeah,
Small
but
word.
like it's just
Peter
yeah,
defeater.
there's a degree of aggressiveness in that badge which makes me, you know, vanilla as I am, very, very uncomfortable.
I understand. That would make me horribly uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
Are these games
WIM
continuing?
beater is yeah. Arguably we've not gone far enough in the naming of the badge. People have suggestions.
Slayer. That's not bad.
Also, yeah. So yeah. But I do now have the badge.
WIM manslaughterer.
Stop. Okay, the games appear to be slowly but surely coming up. So I think we should probably not start another one. And in a cruel twist of fate, there's more of that QGA or QGD, as the case may be.
Come on, Hikaru. Chess is bigger than just this position.
But also, all the people playing Hikaru, chess is bigger than just this position.
Well, they're scoring like 75%. Can
But
we
not
blame
Jan,
them?
though.
Not Jan.
Jan didn't get anywhere at all, so you kind of have to wonder.
Jan also a bit of a principled fella, no? Like he might continue a discussion, especially if he believes in the space advantage, which most of the top players seem to do. Hikaru keeps repeating the c6 line. Magnus Carlsen tried knight h5 against Hikaru himself in the Magnus Invite finals, but lost. A very instructive game, by the way, if you haven't seen it. You should check it out. And yeah, Hikaru seems to continue to be convinced that this is very defensible territory. Don't ask us about queen c1. Jan did all these subtle moves in
he's
their
actually
game already.
even sticking to that slightly weird move order. And yeah, they are continuing to blitz. I'm not sure what
Knight h5. What's that about? Bishop h2 and you go back.
I guess, because I mean it's very difficult for me to imagine black ever playing f5 in this structure, which is something that they do occasionally in the Catalan when the bishop is on f4. But
Pawn Pusher saying, wonder how long Hikaru spent looking at the QGD. Must be hours and hours. Yeah, that's likely. Mr. Bonko25 is saying, isn't Naka a QGD expert? He is for sure, and he plays it fairly exclusively, but he's been put under pressure both in this c5 line. He used to play a lot against the best of the best, and now in this knight b7 line, where he struggled a bit after both bishop e2 and c5 recently. But he does seem to be convinced it's a fine system and keeps going for it.
Yeah, I'm still confused why knight h5 could possibly be required in this position. It appears to be some kind of an elaborate pass more than anything else, because
unless he wants to go f5, but that feels very
as I
unlikely.
said, it just doesn't seem great. Like the situation on the queen side is not, I think, stable enough for you to start doing these things, but maybe he feels it is. Also, it's worth noting that white, as you've mentioned, Magnus played knight h5 against Hikaru himself, and in that line, white sort of happily gives up on that bishop. So you could even argue that knight takes f4 is not a threat as such, and white can play just something like queen c2 here and feel
but why even think about it? Like, what could there be wrong with bishop h2? Maybe at some point we just don't get some.
Hang on a second. Maybe bc5, bc5.
Of course. Check. We're idiots. He wants to
this is
take
clever.
the square for the king.
This
Apologies.
is actually quite clever.
We stupid.
Although, I mean, okay, I go knight b1 here, and I will come out. Like, why is this? Knight b1, g4, king g2, and then we will actually once again ask the question: how happy are you that the b file is now open?
If we got nothing direct, we are not happy. Maybe we got something direct. He's played the soak fast. It looked like prep.
He is definitely making a very good impression of just.
Let's continue our tour through the games by jumping to, is this board number 2? Nakamura's board 1, Karana's board 2? Who decided that? Not arguing with it. Hikaru, just reached the final of the MCI, is the more accomplished rapid player. But you never know with these orders, like who wants to play what, who decides what. Curious.
Yeah. Bless you. Seems like it should be a little bit better for Fabi, I assume, but probably not all that tragic. We take on b2, we go knight c5, c6, and we get a kind of a normal King's Indian-ish position where, very relevantly, the bishop on c8, which normally has no good squares to look forward to, has already been traded off.
Looks huge for white to me. I might be just the d4 nerd boy talking, but even if you get c6,
no, it's very
got
pleasant.
A free roll forever.
It's very pleasant, but I think by the standards of this structure, this is not that horrible for black. But yeah, I mean, white always is going to be slightly better at least.
Mr. Bonko is asking the big questions. $1 million question. Do Magnus and Anish hate each other, or are they such friends that they always provoke each other? I would say neither. I don't think they hate each other. I also don't think they're close friends. They're both bantery guys, and they enjoy their back and forth on social media. But yeah, neither. I don't think they're enemies. I don't think they're friends.
Yeah, I would go. I would go with neither myself. Yeah, I think that's very fair.
Thank you.
They're colleagues. I'm pretty sure there's a decent amount of mutual respect and all that. But
Sorry, I'm just teasing. Teasing, not teasing. Rajabov Anand. Wow, some theory. Obviously, we're just jumping through games. We should probably tell you which game belongs to what match, but maybe you've got it all figured out already. Rajabov Anand, for example, is rest of the world versus India. Let Tekyan do his techie business. And bring up the pairings. Here we are. So it's Russia versus USA. Rest of the world versus India. And Europe versus China. Of course, the only game that we really care about is Anish Giri versus Yu Yangyi. But we will briefly cover the others as well.
yeah, the European team does look kind of scary, with Anish coming in this match on seemingly board 3, which is not his usual, I think, spot in any kind of a team that he plays in.
Often lower, no? When he plays for that Russian team?
Well, that was true when he just started playing for it, but I don't think it's true anymore, right? Maybe. You mean the Siberian team? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because he started off playing for Moscow, and in that team, yeah, when they drafted him to start playing for Moscow, he was quite low in the roster, but that didn't last very long. But in the Sberbank or whatever it was, its last name, yeah, he was. But that was a behemoth. That was a properly scary squad. Something akin to, let's say, the Baden-Baden roster if everybody actually played. Maybe even scarier. Who knows? Maybe not. I think Baden still beats most teams in the.
Baden does have me. Siberia has not. I think that's the difference maker there.
Pretty much.
All right, this is a theory debate. Usually Vishy has done his homework in these lines. I've seen this line too. White can put some mild pressure. But good luck out prepping Vishy here. Or good luck out prepping anybody who's good at prepping in any line that is solid for black. It's not so easy.
Yeah, I think that's a fair description.
We have Ding Liren in action against Maxim.
This line makes a reappearance.
They continue the debate of the 1d4 line that Maxim has learned. The Queen c2 Nimzo, which he played a lot in the MCI, won a nice game against Anish Giri. I still think it's not the one line you can base your 1d4 career on, because the top guys and their top engines, they will figure out how to make this a draw. Still, if anybody's better, it's white, of course, because of the somewhat more compact pawn structure, fewer pawn islands.
Yeah, and once again, in particular after that game, MBL won against Anish in the MCI. I would have been just sort of rudely claiming this is completely equal in practical terms, and why is he going for it? But
that's what I did. And then he won, and I had to eat my words.
Yeah, and honestly, this is not more equal than the position he very convincingly won against Anish there. So I think we should
also Ding though, who, some disrespect to Anish, Ding in rapid. I'd pick him to draw this over Anish.
And yeah, and honestly, just very hard to see how this is going to be a problem, because I guess white wants something like rook h1, h6, rook h4, or some kind of a setup like that. But the king will be very safe on f8. You just play, I don't know, queen f6, h6, rook d8, bishop b6, and just very, very difficult for me to imagine how you're supposed to place your pieces to generate enough threats. But I'll trust MVL that he isn't doing this just to, shuffle pieces around for another 5 moves and offer a draw.
Kevin Walker is saying no disrespect, continues to disrespect. I said some disrespect. You have to listen, Kevin. This, by the way, is a game between the world number 2 in Rapid, Maxim Vasilya-Graf, and the world number 3 in Rapid, Ding Liren. Ding Liren, frankly, I was so sure he would beat Magnus in that semifinal when he had a winning position in game 3, being up 1.5-1/2. So he must be a little unhappy. He did not pull it off, but he's looked back to his very scary strength after not having a great candidates. Well, MVL, of course, had a great candidates. Not such a great MCI so far. Let's get to the man of the hour, and he does deliver. He's playing a symmetrical position in the Petrov, Anish Giri, our boy.
The boy. Yeah, the boy the boy is doing the responsible thing here and challenging Yuengi. Whoa, a new move order for this.
Some funky move order, yeah? Because usually they start with this.
Yeah, I haven't seen this done before.
This.
So they're trying to sidestep something. I'm not entirely sure what, because he does, of course, play
D5
D5
some
and the
C4, but probably doesn't mind.
By move 8, they're very much back in well-known territory, but I haven't seen Black employ this particular move order to get there. So it's a bit curious for the theory buffs out there, of which I am not one where Petrov is concerned.
DJ Jefflo is saying, Peter Svidler, best commentator of all time. Of all time. If that's a genuine compliment, it's appreciated. If it's a Kanye reference, even more appreciated.
I probably should know what it's a reference to, but...
When Taylor Swift won that thing, what was it? Grammy, Emmy,
one
of the thingies.
I'm gonna let you finish, or...
Really happy for you, Taylor. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Yeah, I somehow only know the "I'm gonna let you finish" part of that speech, which shows
Obama
my
called Kanye a jackass after that.
Harsh, but true.
I don't know. Those were the days. Well, I'm not sure why I keep clicking on this Zhou and Jun Zagnitsa position, but somehow I got intrigued by it. Zhou Wenjun playing on the women's board for China. I'm not quite sure what the world ranking situation is between her and Humpi Koneru, but Zhou Wenjun is the world champion. Nana Zagnitsa is a very, very strong, very accomplished Georgian top player. I'm not sure about her rating. Actually, let me look it up, because I should stop saying not sure. I would guess she's top 5, Nana Zagnitsa. Do you know these things? Probably also not by heart here, the women's rating. Let me check.
Not by heart, no. I played Nana. I don't believe I ever played Juvan Jun. I played next to her a number of times in Gibraltar. She is a scary, scary good player.
Who, Juvan Jun or Nana?
Yeah. Proper good chess player, and Nana as well. Yeah? I think I did beat Nana in the one game I played against her, but she did not play. She did not play anywhere near her best on the day.
Against me, she played her best, but I crushed her anyway.
That was the jib when
she's down to world number 8, Nana Zagnitsa, which is 2524 in classical. Feels a little low for her. But yeah, those are both top players, Zhou and Jun. Also down to 2560. I think of her as a 2600 player.
Easily, yeah. Yeah. Very, very easily.
There we are. As for the position, I think I might have given all this stuff in my Catalan video series on Chess24. You always face a decision in these if you want to give your bishop or try to keep it. And knight c6, bishop h7 is an ambitious strategy. Somewhat more risky strategically, but also greater rewards if it pays off.
It feels like compared to some of the drier positions you see in the Catalan, this is potentially quite interesting. But yeah, I always start by feeling black cannot possibly be worse here because black has the pair of bishops and a very, very solid pawn structure. But I do realize, I do realize that people have been losing this structure on the black side of it in very strong players' games. So it's clearly just my somewhat deficient understanding.
As long as you apologize, it's okay. All right, I'm reading China's a big favorite because of the women's board specification. I wouldn't say big favorite, as big a Zhu Wenjun fan as I am, but because of that board, like Musichuk, Koneru, the ratings you see here, those are rapid ratings based on them not having played much rapid. Same for Goryachkina and Zagnitze. I do not think it's a giant difference. All of those named are, I'm going to lie again, but top 10, if not top 10 adjacent players in Classical. So Zhu Wenjun might be the strongest player, but to my mind, this is all pretty close.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think it gives China a definitive edge. China is a very strong team in general. Just
China.
Yeah, because it's China. But I don't think the edge on the women's board is such that it's whoa. Okay.
What was that?
That wow. Yeah, but briefly, I thought what's the MVL one.
Right.
I thought rook b7, queen h7, king f8, and what does he mean? But rook b7, of course, is impossible because of queen ch.
And it's being specified, which makes sense, that they don't only have Zhu Wenjun, they also have Hou Yifan, who, is probably a bigger favorite against the rest of that field. Even though even there we would have to add the disclaimer, hasn't been as active as some of the others. And frankly, we don't know. There's also a well-publicized history of Hou Yifan not always being the biggest fan of playing against women. So I'm not sure. I would not say it tips the scales in China's favor, but I would of course agree that having Hou Yifan and Zhu Wenjun on the women's board is as good as you can do.
It is very formidable for sure, but as mentioned, Hou Yifan has been very busy with her Oxford studies, and
she's done though. She's back to China.
But that took however much it was, like a year and a half.
To take a year.
Out.
Is that how long Oxford studies take? By the way, I'm not an expert. But
no, but I think she was doing some. She was doing some kind of postgrad. I assume, because it normally takes a lot longer than a year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, obviously, if she's back to anything near her best, she will be a very, very difficult player to face in this tournament.
So basically, our hot take is all the best players are good.
But some are. I don't think it's a controversial statement that say that some are gooder than others. And Hou Yifan, on her A game, would I think fall in the somewhat gooder category.
I don't know, these Russians, Goryachkina, Lachno in rapid. I'm not sure how big an edge China has there. We will find out, or not. Hikaru, have we mentioned Hikaru? He's playing for the rest of the world. He's Peruvian, is that correct?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. It is correct. And he's pretty good at chess. Like, is it 2-7? I should know ratings. I just never know anybody's rating.
And chat is now giving me grief for the gooder, which is getting curiouser and curiouser by the minute.
Chat, if Peter gets out of line, by all means, call him out, not just in chat, but whatever means you have at your disposal. This monster has to be contained.
Absolutely.
I want to know Hikaru's rating. Someone tell me, in classical chess.
I think I can do that.
Can you do it faster?
And you? Probably not, but 2652.
That's lower than I thought it would be. Anyway. CP Counter is saying, let's keep politics out of chat, please. Thank you. All right. How about the show, CP Counter? Also, CP Counter, where do you stand on Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr.? You can tell us.
And now we are finally, up and running.
Now it's a real show. CP Counter's back.
I feel like we are finally up and running now. Yeah, I felt a bit sluggish, but now I'm gonna sit up and do my very best.
CP Counter is saying, I like it. What the Trumps are, he's saying, I don't react on that questions. Okay, you can pick one. Ignore Junior, just Senior.
I'm in the wrong chat apparently.
It's a pity.
It is very much a pity.
Fabi.
Do we have all 12 boards yet, or are we still...
I can't count. There's a bunch of games going on. Let's look at Fabi Artemiev, where I was claiming big Fabi advantage at the opening. Or I wasn't claiming that, but it felt very pleasant to me. How about now? Artemiev has the horsey, but he's missing the f-pawn. So king safety could be a factor. And again, black construction looks pretty solid, doesn't it?
That does soon look like a very sturdy construction. King f7, queen f6 could be maybe attempted. And yeah, the fact that the knight on c5 cannot really be challenged easily or frankly at all might be the most important factor here, which allows black to hold. Unless some kind of knight e6 happens somewhere and the weakness on c7 becomes relevant. But I suspect it doesn't work now, and if it doesn't work now, it probably... Hang on a second. Actually, king f7 would play quite hard into knight e6, right? So...
I don't know. CP Counter is saying, I pick standings current round. I think that means that he wants the current president to get re-elected, if I understand that correctly.
That must, I mean, that's about as clear a statement of intent as we ever get from CPK.
Fair enough. 96 looks unpleasant, does it not? I understand this is not relevant, but cute.
Also queen g7 mate, but...
Yeah. Even when I pick up a whole queen, you have to correct me. Really? Rook f1 is white better, or?
We have a policy on the show of showing every mate on the board, right? So right.
Queen f3 is bad because of queen g7 mate. And knight takes e6, we're also in trouble, no?
Yeah, g rook c. I think this is actually kind of lost for black. So king f7 is completely unplayable, but he played queen f7.
Because here we can just take on e6 and then go queen g7 mate.
Exactly. And he plays queen f7, which is a lot better equipped to deal with knight e6 because the rook lands on c7 without the check. I would still be interested, but that probably is a draw, right? If we... Is it? Why can't we play knight e6 anyway? Maybe he wants to play rook e7 in reply, because I still kind of dislike taking. I think if you take, you might not be very happy there in the end. Like you take twice, I take on c7, you can go check if you want, or queen e5. Check, the king runs towards h3, and I think he's quite happy on h3 here.
I
think you end up playing queen e5 anyway, yeah. And if you play queen e5, I thought I can play something like queen c4 check, d5 queen somewhere.
I would have,
because the rook endgame, I suspect, is a draw, because a4 counterplay comes very fast.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, but they actually, we'll find out in a moment, because Fabi actually went for all this. We'll see.
Magician _531 says, do any of the mods here have chess24 connections? Who should we report this to? I'm not sure. I have chess24 connections. What are you reporting? Do I want to know? Maybe I don't want to know. Prodigy is very connected. So Fabi's better, right?
Well, yes, but the question is, do we actually make any progress in this position? D5 and then rook f8, because we've kind of stopped creating threats with white. As long as the queen is on e5.
Also, how easy a draw is this? I have a bunch of moves here. Like, let's say rook c5. You go a4, I'm guessing. I go here. We can try.
Yeah, check, check, and then king h3, rook f2. I have a feeling it probably holds, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's still not fun. But probably does end up holding somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Did I have to go there?
Actually, maybe we just take on e5 after a4, no? And then go rook e3, and we are a pawn up.
Yeah, I thought we're too passive then, but maybe.
But we are kind of passive, yeah. It's not great. Queen e5 played, so we will once again. It's just easier to wait for Fabi to show his hand here. Is queen h4 ever a move?
We have some checks.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
f1. Yeah, I blundered. Hang on. But after you give a
Not
check
so
from
quick,
f1,
yeah.
I continue running forward. Yeah, maybe it's not so stupid.
And
but
Fabi.
Fabi goes for
my
the
boy.
technical solution. A4 has to be played now because otherwise you get like all the same positions, just the full tempo down. So, yeah, Fabi just takes on e5. I think.
CP counter has connections. Connections in what way? Sorry for interrupting.
An internet connection, perhaps.
Broadband? 5G?
5G.
Why is this Fabi like this so much? Or maybe he just thought it's the best there is. But okay, you wanna.
Yeah, king f2,
cover
rook
the
a2,
pawn.
rook e2 is what I also missed. Yeah, but yeah, actually rook b1 here.
Okay, to rook e2. Yeah, I thought you just go for this, and this
Rook
must
b1,
be
rook b2
Nietzsche.
check, and it's very close to a draw, maybe
H5,
just a
bring the
draw. Yeah.
king. I don't know. Doesn't look like much.
Yeah, I think this should be fine, but I sort of distrust myself on the subject of rook endgames, so hard to say. And Vishy played himself into, I think, potentially some trouble. We haven't visited with that game for a bit, and
Looks unpleasant.
yeah, looks unpleasant
pieces-
enough that I'm already, for instance, quite curious about queen h5 in this position, but probably too early for that. Even bishop f3.
If we go somewhere, you want bishop c7, yeah?
Yeah, I think the plan is to play bishop c7 next move, but I'm pretty sure there must have been a cleaner way to get our pieces out of the corner. There must have been a cleaner way. And queen h5 is probably a draw, so I guess it's not that scary. I think you can
just
take
take-
an f7, king h7, and yeah, the rook on c1 is just too far away, and we don't even have Luft on the king side to start trying to switch it on. There's always a perpetual, and I suspect even knight f7, queen f6 might actually lose. So maybe it's nothing. Maybe you do have to play bishop f3, and after bishop c7, you look for a good move.
Yeah, Fabi put the king on h3, which is of course smarter than my king f2, king g1. Still feels like it should be a draw, but he can probably try it. G4, king g3, h4, and so on. h5 played by Artemiev, also I guess instructive, reducing the number of pawns, which you want to do as a defender. Because white probably has to play g4 in order to make any progress. Unless this makes sense, but I guess not, no? Yeah.
Should be a draw as well. Rook e4, rook, I don't know, g2. I guess it very rarely ends up.
It's
ends
not
up
enough
being
pawns
anything.
normally. Yeah. All right. So Fabi will probably not break through. Nepomniachtchi is doing his best Magnus Carlsen impression, trying to chip away in this four knights endgame, which
It's
Magnus
actually-
won against
once
Hikaru.
again. once again, this is probably more than little, or maybe not. Knight of 8 is a clever move by Hikaru, getting the other knight to g6 and then probably pushing h6, h5, and getting the weakness on h6 resolved that way.
Yeah.
Can we play e4 here? But
Sorry.
Yeah, probably doesn't do anything. But it's surprising that, you know, even against you know, something that's compared to the positions he was getting in some other games, it should be not that threatening. He still has to defend positions which optically don't look that nice. Although this one looks to me like he never loses it.
Yeah.
It just looks okay.
There's a lot of demand for Mr. Dodgy joining the show. It's not in my hands. Open invitation. Let me send the link to put maximum pressure.
Yeah.
Oh, and we have feedback from a certain Magnus Carlsen who's criticizing the show's title. He's saying it should not be the Jan and Peter show. It should be the J. Peterman show. What is that? I don't get the reference. Explain. Who's J. Peterman?
I do not know.
Also, Magnus, would you say Magnus has the same type of open invitation as Mr. Dodgy or a lower level?
No, I think they are on very much on level.
Same level?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Oh,
And,
that's a Seinfeld reference. I'm not a big Seinfeld expert. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. Not big on Seinfeld. Still, I should have caught that. Oh, thank you, thank you. Can we correct that? Can we call it the J. Peterman show?
I'm pretty sure it's
orders from above.
Yeah.
If anybody's watching with Chess24 connections, please change the name to the J. Peterman show.
And there's also been a point raised in the Twitch chat on the topic, which once again, I don't know how easy it is to change on the fly, but apparently our standings pages and general rounds pages refer to all the women player in the tournament as WGM, which is sort of not their title, because all of them apart from one, I don't know which one, but I guess we can work it out, are actual GMs. So that probably should get fixed at some point.
And I'm hearing the show's title did get changed.
Yeah, it did get changed.
Thank you. That's good leadership there from from Magnus, and swift execution. Which game? So many games.
So many games. We've been ignoring some, but...
Yeah, but we've
okay.
also heavily been covering some, like Fabi's game.
Yeah. Tamer actually played Queen h5, which kind of forces us to discuss if he has anything above the more than the perpetual here, but I don't see it. Yeah, probably just a draw, because if you give... I mean, the thing is, after Queen a7, King h7... No, but Queen f6 is always a threat. I was about to say that, you know, if we just make some kind of a quiet move here, maybe Black has, you know, nothing he can improve for a move or two, but that's just not true, because Queen f6 is a problem.
Let's get to the real action. Anish Giri with the white pieces against the recently struggling
What is
Yu
happening?
Yi.
Oh, okay, yeah, I figured it out.
Figured it out?
I was very confused about Queen f7, and then I realized Knight h6 check is a move that you can make in the chess game.
Is Anish winning?
Anish seemingly is a lot better, yeah. Maybe Rook d6? Maybe that's the way to go.
Oh. Tactic.
And then he is not winning.
Anish is drawing. Ugh, got my hopes up yet again. King f7 played. Is Anish drawing? I'm updating my question.
Anish apparently is close to lost. Yes, so we've gone through like all three evaluations within this the space of 20 seconds and without chat.
That's why they pay us the big bucks. Yeah, King f7 is trapping the rook.
What about rook e5? I guess just rook goes somewhere. Yeah, like rook d8 or something. How did that happen? Like he just voluntarily played rook e6 and now it's not coming back. Yeah?
Come on, Anish. So he's slightly better than the usual. Trying to put some pressure. But he must have miscalculated something. He went for rook e6. Obviously, no need. Knight e4.
But actually,
Closing the door.
Is very forcing, right? So, like when Yuan Yi allows this, and it has to go back maybe even all the way to moves 19. Starting from knight e3 c6, when you play c6 in this position as black, knight 3 g4 is absolutely the main move you're calculating. So if you're allowing all this, if you're playing c6 in reply to knight g4 and allowing rook e6 as well, alarm bells have to kind of start ringing for you on the white side of it, because it looks like it might lose by force. And Yuan Yi is a very, very experienced player of this line, so it's unlikely he is allowing something which is so strategically horrible. If
He lured Anish's rook into a trap. And in case you don't know this, rooks are worth 5 points. Knights are only worth 3.25. So this is a very profitable exchange for Mr. Yu Yang-yi. He has to pay the price.
Yeah, Anish found a very cute way to continue fighting. And now queen h3. F8, king e6, queen h3, creating threats of knight f6, knight e5, all those things. F5, I think we take, and then we start giving checks. I think it might be... Oh no, it runs away by 6 and e7. No, I thought queen e3, queen g3 was... queen e3, queen e4 even. Might even be stronger.
Yeah, and Anish's biggest supporter, Laurent Fressinet, Grand Maître, is in the chat. He's saying, I'm afraid for Anish that Garry Kasparov won't be impressed. Garry Kasparov being Anish's team captain. That could be.
That proposition actually is scary.
Is
like
it?
The idea of playing for a team where Garry is a captain, you really want to be on your absolute best behavior and top form, because...
What's he got to do? Give Anish a mean look in the Zoom call? If there is a Zoom call?
I don't know, for me...
What's the worst thing that could happen?
Something like that, but it's pretty bad. Like what I wanted to suggest is something like that happening is kind of, for me at least, a lot harder to handle than you would have.
Anish has pretty thick skin. What he does not have is rooks. Queen h3 and Yu Yang-yi taking his time.
F5 very logical. Knight e5, I guess we just play.
What else could you do? King e7? No, why would we give this pawn?
Yeah, I mean king e7 does exist, but you don't really need to give up on h7. Also, king e7, e5. I genuinely feel like maybe white is not even worth all that much, and yeah, f5 played.
And Mr. Dodgy, just no, don't plug that tweet again. I cannot unsee that. It was very uncomfortable. Both the Magnus version and the Garry Kasparov version. F5 played. Knight e5, Anish of course has calculated this doesn't work. Now black has a pleasant choice between de, which he won't play, because then you drop pawns, and moving the rook. So it's not really a choice, you gotta move that rook.
Yeah, just rook e7, I guess, and then white goes ef and queen e3 anyway, but yeah, the king must have a way to evacuate to safety in that position.
Pizza Racer saying, how does Jan Anish know how thick Anish's skin is? Has he done a biopsy? Is that a word? Or something? I have seen Anish's skin up close many a time. In the business, many call him Leather Skin Anish. Melchior Fix is saying, are Jan and Peter both Seinfeld fans? I'm not. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm not big on Seinfeld. With Peter, I could imagine it's the other way around. Because for me, the cringe, the better.
I've watched more Seinfeld in my life than I've watched Curb. I like Seinfeld, but I don't know if I would describe myself as a fully fledged Seinfeld fan.
Does Anish have any chances of saving this?
Yeah, but very, very little, I think. I think it's just there's so few pieces on the board that handling the threats that... I mean, White is generating some threats right now, but I mean, we play a6 and then we play queen b8 or d8, get it to d6. And then slowly but surely the king should be able to get those safer squares. And once it's relatively safe, it should be a smooth conversion.
Smooth. Have we...
What else we got?
Visited Mr. Alireza yet? He's feeling cat to the
suffering.
Night. Ooh.
He's suffering against... this is a very... it's one of the quirkier things to have come out as quote-unquote opening theory in recent times. The e4, c6, knight f3, d5, d3 line.
Another Anish line. Brought to you by Anish Giri. A line that ensures, more or less, that you exchange queens by move 4 with the white pieces.
Yeah.
It's not as innocent as it looks at all. It's
no, of course
similar
not.
to all these anti-Grunfeld lines that I'm sure you have checked these. I'm not sure if we have time for opening nerding out, but that has never stopped us in the past.
Yeah, in in particular that position, yeah.
This, whatever they do. And eventually white goes e4, and it doesn't look like anything, but it's not so simple to play. And it's also tailor-made for Hare Krishna's style, who's a very nasty, small nuances positional player. And arguably, even though we've earlier talked about Alireza, of course, being a complete player, strategic battle where you are defending is not what most youngsters enjoy.
Not at all, yeah. And he's been sort of holding on grimly up until now, but yeah, Hari now goes in for the kill. Maybe the kill is a bit strong, but he is forcing some trades now, and the rook will be on b7. And hang on, you just take on c4, and then you go king d6, rook b7, king bishop d7. That's still fine. Maybe we're once again underestimating just, or maybe bishop f7 is a problem there.
Mr. Dodgy is saying, get used to it. I'm using it every day forever. Ugh. I might have to switch from muting Mr. Dodgy to blocking him. Because muting, you never know. You click on something and boom, there it is again. How do you handle it? CP Counter is saying, I think Jan was serious. When have I ever not been serious?
What's this in reply to?
I think we're discussing Mr. Dodgy's very inappropriate, out-of-line tweets featuring Magnus Carlsen and Garry Kasparov.
I have seen that, and it's magnificent.
You cannot unsee them. Did you
exactly,
think it was magnificent?
Well, perhaps magnificent is not entirely the word, but it's in the vicinity.
Enough.
Fabi is completely winning against Artemiev in the meanwhile.
Oh, Fabi just making it look easy, all these rook endgames.
How did we get from here to there? Where did the pawn go? That seems to have been played poorly by black, right?
Maybe it was. I'm sure it was tougher than expected, because Artemiev was pretty good at rook endings. This one is not even close, is it? With an h-pawn you could have a discussion, but here just
No,
over.
this is very over. I assume. Yeah, like what would even be the problem?
Danger More 5 is saying, looking at Twitter, ICPH has tweeted Russia too, as Sasha, Dubov, Peter, Lachno. Good team. That is a pretty good team.
That is a decent team, but that's always been sort of the case with Russian teams over the years. And this is a cute position here because King F2, which seems to be very promising, runs into Queen E3 check. Yeah, and you lose.
Ah, yeah. Beautiful.
So this is a perpetual now because the king... Hang on a second, Bishop F1 though? What am I talking about?
What are you talking about?
Bishop F1, I guess, takes D3, and maybe that pawn actually queens or something. Very curious position, actually. Position well worth discussing. So what happens if I go D6, D2, D7? It's just such a non-standard position. This just wins, right? D6, D2, D6. This just wins on the spot.
No perpetuals
Unless there's
here.
a perpetual once again. Queen F1, takes, D1 check. Maybe this is a draw.
If the queen covers, we can take.
Yeah,
it
this
feels
is
like
this is a draw. Yeah.
Humpy taking her time.
Yeah, she's played King H2, King G1, I think at least once already. So she might be running out of time to avoid repetition. But she might need to play Bishop F1 now, or sort of forever hold her piece.
Hi.
Yeah, King G6.
You have some tricks. I don't see them. Why exactly?
Yeah, neither do I, but it's Laurent, so you have to assume he knows something.
You do?
Well, if that's like the starting assumption, then you realize he doesn't.
Wow, shots fired.
No, but seriously though, why is this an improvement? Maybe King G6. No, but that's too bizarre. No, I don't see it.
Peter doesn't see it. And Laurent said he missed King G6, King H7. No worries.
Yeah.
Adiban, the beast.
The beast, yeah.
He's not beastly, he's just playing normal human good chess.
I mean, he's perfectly capable of that.
I know. But he also has to give the people what they want. And the people, they don't want him to play E6, they want him to play E5. I understand it's tough after knight f3.
After knight f3, it does become progressively harder to achieve. And Anish actually has, I think, decent drawing chances now.
Did you know that Adiban's mom is called Lila?
I was not aware of that, no.
Now you know.
Now I do know. It's very good trivia knowledge.
Frederick Ryan is saying, it's Cinco de Mayo. Why aren't Jan and Peter drinking pina coladas? These May days, no pun intended, are strange, no? That Star Wars Day is followed directly by Cinco de Mayo. It's too much. 1st of May is also a thing. It's too much.
Well, yeah, I mean, May from 1st until till 9th. In my country, it used to be almost as bad as the New Year's Eve until, let's say, the 14th of January, in the sense that people treated it as one long vacation and would generally imbibe copious quantities of alcohol.
Yeah. I've extended my lonely nightly walk yesterday to celebrate Star Wars Day. What have we ignored? We've ignored the debut of Mr. Wesley So on the US squad. We're pretty loaded as well with Hikaru, Fabiano, Wesley, and Linje. That's right, I'm on a first name basis. With the top chess players in the world. And my boy Dima, however, is not backing down here. Is this going to be a draw? What's happening?
It feels like black now holds. Yeah, it was a very curious line because I did not think this was so serious, but if Andraking's doing it, maybe there's been some revising going on, because knight of 3c5 and bishop e2 instead of rook b1, I don't think it used to be considered a problem for black. But whenever a very strong player tries to rejuvenate a line which is supposedly kind of dead and empty.
No, yeah, I've tried to make this work. Didn't get very far.
You tend to
Someone
pay
did this
attention.
recently, wasn't it? Grishuk, or was Grishuk on the black side? No, it was Andraking Grishuk, actually. I think it might have been Andraking Grishuk.
Yeah, and I quite like Wesley's approach. Once again, not something new, but
Yeah, all of
black in
this
general
I
in
can
this structure is just reasonably happy returning that exchange as soon as possible, just to get rid of that dark squared bishop. And
see. Draw.
yeah, they have agreed a draw now.
Is Ali Reza holding this Massage Royale?
No, I think g5 may have been a reasonably large mistake. No,
What do you do? Take?
maybe there was no good choice.
Looks
Maybe
like
bishop
you're in
to
trouble,
bishop
no?
g6 was also bad. Yeah, maybe just allowing all this was a mistake. I understand now what the problem is. All of us, or at least I know about. I did. We all missed rook takes c6 on move 46, which is a nice little tactic
Shame.
by. Shame, shame, shame.
They won a pawn, and this is not really giving it back. So yeah, it's probably lost.
No.
Are these pawns fixed on light squares anyway?
Yeah, it feels like with the healthy outside passer on h5, white should find the way to win. Although it's not 100% certain, I feel, because the king doesn't have obvious entry squares into the black structure. So let's say if I put my king on f6 and the bishop on b5, and I claim that.
Gilad0905 is asking the old question, which Wesley is the coolest? So, Snipes, or Crusher? But you have to name Wesley Snyder in the big Wesley battles. That's been established. Yeah, not a Wesley Crusher fan. I do like Blade. I think I'm going Wesley Snipes. White man can't jump. Who's your favorite Wesley?
Blade franchise is a classic. I think they're making Blade 4 now.
Not
Or
sure.
at least they were making Blade 4, but now I think a lot of things which were in production are no longer in production, at least for the time being.
That's not Blades of Glory. That's a different one, right?
No, that's... No.
All right, Wesley. So, we're not telling you you can't reach the top spot of Wesley's, but currently you're behind Snipes and Snyder. You're ahead of Wesley Crusher. And probably firmly ahead of Wesley Crusher.
So firmly that I have to Google who that is, which I will now do.
Star Trek or Star Wars. Same thing, Star Trek. It's the character played by Will Wheaton.
Yeah, now... Yeah, I the moment that the image appeared on my screen, I kind of knew who that is. But yeah, I mean, our Wesley is way ahead of this Wesley, but probably still behind the other two.
Jan Nepomniachtchi is still trying to break through here against Hikaru Nakamura.
But yeah, unlikely to happen, it feels, because...
Not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I'm not even sure, like, what needs to happen here for black to be in significant danger. Like, if one pair of knights comes off, do we worry, or are we still completely safe? If the
I
knight
don't
reaches
think we
d6,
worry.
I don't know, let's say if knight b6, knight b7, knight d6 check happens, do we worry, or are we still completely safe? All of these.
I don't care enough I am pretty certain that Hikaru is going to draw, but we have more pressing concerns.
Tell me all about them.
Anish is no longer playing.
He might have lost, actually, which is very alarming.
Yeah, we have number one, Anish Observer, Laurent Fressinet, in the chat, reporting that he is now losing, or he was now losing, because
He's already
ending
lost.
is
The
difficult.
queens came off, and he had to resign. No, once the king arrived somewhere around g4, these types of queens endgames become very, very dangerous, because the king has a lot of pawn cover, and black just advances on the king's side, starts creating mating threats, and also these things could sometimes happen that you see on your screens.
Joe and Joan is up on the rooks count,
Yeah,
which is usually,
completely.
I'm not sure if you've studied my games, but usually it's good to have more rooks. There are some exceptions, but really, those are the exceptions that prove the rook's rule. Here, I think it's one of those extra rook is good situations.
Yeah, fairly certain it is, and
Yeah.
none does
Zagnis
resign.
agrees.
It was a strange game, because we were discussing all kinds of pressing positional concerns, but what ended up happening is that the knight on b4 was just caught and collected. Queen
That's
c3,
not
knight
good.
c5, and
But already, if you get this a5 and you have to play c6, it felt like something's gone a little wrong. No? Oof.
yeah, it just king h1, and she had to give it up, and then of course, I mean, there is some positional compensation to begin with, but
Yeah, but knights are pretty good. They're like worth 3.25. Pawn is only one.
Lev drew quite safely against Wei Yi. And it feels like Hari may have committed a bit of a mistake there against Alireza. Might now be closer to a draw.
All
Because
right.
Alireza found this very nice geometrical shot, bishop a4 on the previous move. Thinking f3 maybe was slightly inaccurate. The point being that in that endgame that we were discussing, the king did come over to f6. And Hari meant to play king f3, and now after bishop a4, he is forced to play b3, because otherwise he just loses the c pawn. And having played b3, he will have to obviously trade that pawn for the a5 pawn, and the fewer pawns are left on the board, the more I like Alireza's drawing chances. Also, is Adiban now back to the beast mode and actually delivering some kind of mate to Jorge, or is this a false alarm?
I do not know.
I guess it's a little bit of false alarm, because the king goes to h2 and it's very, very difficult to get to it. I don't like king f8 though.
Atiban, Chess 24 Banter Blitzer. Premium members can challenge him on good old Chess 24. He is a very entertaining chess player.
That is very true. Although, I mean, not although, my although was more in regards to the position they're playing. Can he take on g4 right now? Probably
Knight
not.
f2,
He can't.
threatening checkmate.
G4 played.
played.
Yeah, knight takes g4 would have been interesting if not for the fact that bishop c5 check, and then bishop takes d5 and bishop takes e4 collects the entire structure with checks.
That's probably bad.
Yeah, so Adiban goes bishop e6, bishop a5. What's bishop a5 when
Why?
it's at home? I guess he wants to stop rook d2. I think this is the point. He doesn't believe he has any activity, which is, I think, the surprising bit, because I'd be interested in trying to play something like bishop c5 check and rook e7, maybe. But maybe after bishop f7 we actually don't have any activity, surprisingly. Also, Jorge, I mean, not just Jorge, both of them are playing almost entirely on increment now, so it's a very sharp position. I'm not sure if either of them is sort of fully in control of what's happening on the board.
It's a mess. So let's have a look at the Zwischenstand, as we say in German. We have a lot of good zwischenwords. The Russians need Nepomniachtchi to win this to equal their match against the USA, because Corona did indeed win that rook end game. China beats Europe. After Anish Giri loses with the white pieces to Yu Yang-yi in a Petrov. Yeah, that was not a great joker appearance by Anish. Zagnitsa also lost her game, as we've seen, against Zhou and Jun. And the rest of the world versus India are still battling. Firuzha worse, but good drawing chances now, and Hikari, Adiban.
I think yeah, Alireza might just be okay now, because even more cleverly, he played c4 instead of a4, trading the weaker of the two. Bishop d1 is a good move by Hare Krishna, though, stopping at least the plan of cb3, a4. But yeah, I have to say this now feels like it should be okay for black. Just king g6. I mean, cb3, king g6, and hold. Because with so few pawns left on the queen side, you have to also remember that the h pawn on its own will not win with the bishop. So black could definitely aim to give up the bishop and his two pawns for the e4 and b3, which will save the game for him.
Yup. So that game is still ongoing. The Kori Adiban is still ongoing, and Nepomniachtchi is trying to save the match for Russia by defeating Hikaru Nakamura. But he's not going to be able to do it.
Adiban, that's a devious trick there by Adiban. That last
trick
move.
him?
No, I don't think it works, but it's a very, very nice tactical idea. And before, seemingly you can take, and now bishop f3, and the trap kind of closes. Although rook g2 might still be winning, sadly for black, but it's a nice trap. But a7 played by Jorge, which is a cleaner solution after that before, I guess. Because if you take on a2 and play bishop f3, I assume white should find a way to collect enough material with checks to not get mated there.
Question
Perhaps
for Peter by Mr. Dodgy. Top 3 players you're actively rooting against. Such a fire starter, Mr. Dodgy.
Yeah. Top 3. That would be difficult for me, actually.
Peter does not have that many natural enemies.
Yeah.
And
my
Adiban
natural habitat
is going down.
Yeah, bishop takes d5 is a nice inclusion. It doesn't really change very. Maybe we take on a2 actually next move. Maybe it does change some things.
No, it's a check.
If you go king f6, I mean, yeah, I suspect a8 wins, but bishop takes a2 is also a nice inclusion.
It's pretty clean, yeah. Cannot stop that pawn.
Yeah, but he decides not to even engage, goes a8, and now I assume there has to be
Bishop f3 does threaten checkmate.
Yeah, but queen f8 there must be, like, I think white actually gives mate, not black here. So bishop f7 check, and that should end the game.
I would just take.
Yeah, I think in particular on 30 seconds, not even looking for any kind of mates here is. And now it is mate into queen g7, queen g6. Or queen g7, queen e5,
that I would spot. I have a feeling Jorge will also spot it, and the game is over.
And that actually means that... what did I miss? I thought Alireza could have just played a4 there, and he didn't, so I'm clearly missing something. There was a move like move 60, I think. No, move 61. I thought bishop f3 was played, not bishop b2. Yeah, then a4 b4 obviously, and then the king marches towards that pawn, and we don't really want to. We don't really want to allow that.
Maybe.
But yeah, the position they have on the board, I think Black holds quite comfortably because he combines attacking the e4 pawn with keeping the king in bay.
Another important part of his skill set. At an early age, he's incredibly tenacious. It's not easy to beat Alireza from any position.
Absolutely.
So resourceful.
Yeah, so it feels as if the rest of the world is now hugely favored to beat India, and Russia is in dire straits against the US because it really doesn't look like Hikaru is anywhere near losing this endgame to Jan. So Artemiev crushes Levon in round 1 and then loses to Fabi in round 2.
Do you think he's being yelled at by the team captain now?
No,
a bit of disappointment.
I know Alexander Motylev really, really well. I don't think he is.
He's not a yeller, is he? He seems very soft-spoken.
He is not a yeller. That much is known. But
maybe he sings him a song.
It's going to be a painful defeat.
Nepomniachtchi is just not going to break through here.
Yeah, I mean he can continue shuffling, but against Hikaru, who is very, very unlikely to blunder anything, and is also quite unlikely to go significantly below on the clock, it's just hard to imagine where the win is coming from.
Not going to be able to do it. And what's not hard to imagine is that Lawrence Trent appears in the chat. He's saying, "What's popping, my homies?" Is that like young people talk? How are you doing, Lawrence?
I would venture a guess that he is fine.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he is a very stable individual mentally.
It's one of your hotter takes. Lawrence, good to see you. I agree, actually. Lawrence is as resilient as Alireza. Not on the chessboard. But, he's fine. Lawrence Trent is saying, "I'm doing fine, thanks. Just spiffing." I don't know what that means. Yourself? I don't know. I'm tired, but here we are, winging it.
I like the word spiffing. I should use it more often.
You should.
It's a spiffing word.
It's good stuff. On Twitch, they have told Nightbot to answer the command !Peter with "the greatest complainer in chess, second to none." How do you feel about that, Peter?
I feel perfectly fine with that. I'm extremely happy about the !complain on my own channel. I feel that this is exactly the direction my career should be headed towards. Like establish a proper trademark that people identify me by, and push that message as hard as possible. And this now appears to be the message that.
So by not complaining about it, you're trying to subtly look like less of a complainer. You're not fooling anybody.
Yeah, I know. It's not working for me.
Two weeks notice saying Peter's a chat.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty reference. Funny.
I'm not sure it is actually. I think
to me it is.
The chat thing existed before Rick and Morty as well, and I'm never entirely sure if the word is ever used as compliment. like in those comparison pictures, you probably want to be the Chad as opposed to the figure on the left, but still not sure it's a compliment.
All right, not sure if Nepomniachtchi is getting anywhere, but he's got to try. It's for the team.
It is, yeah. He is definitely taking one for the team here, but yeah, I've been kind of idly wondering if you ever could, I don't know, give up the knight for the 2 pawns. But the thing is, you're never making any progress with so few pieces left on the board. And apart from those ideas, I just can't generate any ideas whatsoever for white here. Like eventually, maybe you play e3, e4, and you hope it does something. And Hikaru sort of played into it right now. In particular, if the king goes to f7, but it goes to f5.
Pas de problème.
No, but let's put king f7 and e4 on the board.
Why?
Because we have to discuss something.
Disagree.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Now white is better.
Exactly. Yeah, I did not sound convincing even to myself there. Jan is kind of trying to reestablish the threat of e4, but now Hikaru will have more time to prepare for it. I'm also not entirely sure what this knight is doing on h6. Just bring it back. Maybe even go knight f5. I think this is what he's actually trying to avoid, but I don't know why. I have a feeling Hikaru does not want to trade one pair of knights off in this position, and it seems to me like this should be a reasonably safe draw anyway, so why would you?
MMDE is saying, popular name. Usually a chat can be described as calm and cool. Most chats know how to dress to impress and are considered sexy by women while being hated by jealous haters. Come on, MMDE. Who are you kidding?
That's an extremely generous definition. Frankly, it does seem like it's maybe copy-pasted from somewhere, but...
You think?
I would not necessarily trust that source. Jan does push e4 finally. But black, of course, is much better prepared for it than in the previous position. He can play d, and then if king takes e4, we can go knight g5 check and knight e6. But this is now, at least you can see an outline of how white could end up being better. What if your first name is Chad, asks SN Jego. What if your last name is Chad and your first name is Norman? What do you do then?
All right, chat. Let's stick to chess, please. Ugh, and I should not have looked up chat in the Urban Dictionary, but I did.
And now you're less happy than you were before?
Slightly. The structure change does favor white. I would still assume Hikaru is just fine because he can control the d5 square, making sure there is no breakthrough imminent. Here maybe white tries this, but then just cd, and I don't see how you could ever win this. So, yeah, still under control. Still a draw. Tobu 1997 is saying, "Hey Jan, it's Chad from the college football team. How you been, bro?" Oh boy, I'm not prepared for all this chat stuff. I'm not good at internet.
Yeah, that's a nice appropriation of the old Tanner thing. Yeah, 95-96 does make a ton of sense. I was wondering about going something like knight d6 here and hoping to get d5 and knight takes b5, but I guess we're just going to go knight c7 and we are very content.
Yeah. Looks pretty safe.
Yeah, very, very difficult to imagine how white gets anywhere here. Knight c7 is sort of even a threat here, and f5, f4 might be a bit of a threat, and just generally there's so little material left that the margins are, you know, minuscule.
Hmm. Danger Mouse is saying only Chad I can name is Chadwick Boseman. Worse than the Wesley game. Chad. I don't know many Chads either. Norman Chad does not count.
That's a very harsh statement. Knight c3, knight c7, king f4. Now Hikaru has the option of just going knight e6 check and repeating, or playing king f7, after which he is also in mod wars. And he goes with knight a6, which is once
Playing
again,
for a win now.
Not really, but yeah. Knight a2, knight c7, and not much is going on here.
Let's have a look at le results again.
Le results. The results
Europe
state
lost.
that China won convincingly against Europe due to victories with the black pieces for UNG against Anish Giri and a victory on the women's board for the reigning world champion. Russia is poised to lose to the States because we really aren't expecting Jan to be able to win this very, very equal position against Hikaru. And the rest of the world beat India because Jorge Corey won a seemingly a nice technical game against Adiban, which was technical for a longish while and then became wildly tactical in an endgame when you would least expect it. And Jorge seemed to never have lost control of it.
Amazing. In round number 1, China defeated the rest of the world. So China seems firmly in control of
How many
this
points for a
event.
win? What's the system here?
I can't count. I'm assuming you get like 2. And it's about making the super final. So the round robin is just a warm up for the final of all the finals.
And only 2 teams qualify for the super final, right? There are no semifinals in this event.
I believe that to be the case.
Mm-hmm. There's a double round robin, and then there's a super final straight after that. So we will get a decent amount of chess every day. 24 games, very, very high quality games. The lineups are truly stellar. 24 games every day, and then a super final on the 10th of May.
Wow, the excitement in your voice is palpable. Is that a word? I mean,
It is a word.
Palpable.
That's my shtick, though. The phrase "the excitement is palpable" is one of the things I. Why are you still stealing my? For
I'm
want
an
of a better word,
avid
jokes?
learner. Now I'm
don't
googling
have many.
Palpatine. I want to learn the whole Palpable family. Sheev Palpatine is a fictional character in the Star Wars franchise created by George Lucas.
Yeah.
Initially credited as the Emperor in The Emperor Strikes Back, Palpatine is also known by his Sith identity, Darth Sidious. There you go.
Hikaru is actually now better. I wonder if he will
but
play
only
this
needs
for a
to
win.
draw.
Oh, but I think he's like significantly better because White is completely stuck.
I told you he's playing for a winner. You did not believe me just because he's repeating moves.
No, I mean Jan I think was completely fine had he gone knight c3 on move 105, but because of the tournament situation, he relented. I watched a poker stream yesterday on which the commentator kept on calling the calls. He kept on using the term "he consented" to describe a call, and he relented to describe a fold. And I'm going to now try to incorporate it into chess commentary without any success.
Yeah, but just keep trying.
Exactly. Hashtag adult improver.
And there goes Bojan the b-pawn. Hikaru's just gonna win this. Jan Nepomniachtchi, who's in the top 2 complainers, he will not be happy with having been put in this position where he had to win for the team and then lose. It's not a nice spot to be in.
Not at all. Yeah, it's not enjoyable because obviously for himself he would have offered a draw some time ago, having exhausted. Like you still push e4 to see if that change of structure does something, but then once Hikaru responds properly to that, you just nod and the game ends. But because of the match situation, he was forced to continue past that point and is now, I think, objectively probably lost.
Of course.
I mean, you don't feel as bad about games lost like this as you do about sort of run-of-the-mill losses, I feel. And also, it doesn't impact your rating, so it's probably not the end of the world for Jan. But you still don't enjoy losing games of chess at this level. These guys are all fiercely competitive, and Jan and Hikaru do have a little bit of history, so I think Jan in general is unlikely to enjoy the idea of losing to Hikaru.
How many moves? How many moves are they allowed to make? There must be like a move limit, right? At 120 or something. Enough is enough. Is that how chess works?
Not entirely, but it might, maybe it should, but it doesn't.
So we will be back tomorrow, I believe, to cover the FIDEchess.com. I will have mastered the name of the tournament until tomorrow.
Nations Cup.
Isn't there an online somewhere in there?
Possibly.
Online Nations Cup, see? I knew it. So yeah, the J. Peterman show will resume. We'll be talking nonsense. We'll be filling the breaks with Peter Svidler playing blitz games. I will look very sleepy and be very passive-aggressive towards the chat and towards the mention of both chess and chat. So you have a lot to look forward to. I am an expert plugger.
Indeed.
Also, go premium on Chess24. Visit our friends at chessable.com. Most importantly, of course, buy my stuff. Oh, no. Don't watch it, just buy it. See, that's why I'm such an expert plugger. Go to our friends at Play Magnus as well. Play Tactics Frenzy, where Magnus Carlsen is trying to reclaim the top spot, but firmly Dutch kids are in control. I'm hearing rumors that Peter Svidler is also trying to get into that action.
Well, in as much as I'm trying to install the thing on my devices, I don't know. I don't know if I will be actually competing with the Dutch kids for any kinds of leaderboards. If those are the Dutch kids, I think you mean.
Casper Schoppen?
Yeah, they seem a bit fast. I've seen Casper in action. It's honestly scary. They seem a bit too fast for my boomer APM.
They're also very furious. SN Jago is saying, I'm still waiting for Jay Peterman. Is he a GM? Yeah, I'm not sure. Most people call him more of a, I don't know.
Former GM.
Former GM, yeah. A professor, I believe. Jordan B. Peterman. Some call him a philosopher of our times. Some call him dangerous, depending where you stand. He has some rules for life.
Yeah.
Re-Aiton is saying long names versus 3 names tournament. What does that mean?
I guess that the tournament is full of people with either long names or people with 3 names. And who are the people with 3 names, apart from MVL?
Magnus Carlsen is a middle name? Or I don't even think it's a middle name. Peter Benjaminovich Svidler? Does that count as 3 names? Maybe
I
not
do
really.
not know.
Nah.
I do not know. Is Jan now going to save this game, or is this just a glitch in the matrix? Probably just a
Made some
glitch, yeah.
progress.
Well, he won some pawns back, but now the D pawn actually quins, which is a little bit of a drawback for him. But maybe
I should restate, if we lose focus, and by we I mean myself, you can still see the current position on this little board in the corner here. So even if the show is slow, the board is fast.
And Jake very correctly reminds me that there is also a young Krzysztof Duda in this tournament who also has 3 names.
I don't know. I think of the Jan Krzysztof as 1 name. Isn't there even a minus in there?
There is a... Yeah, I don't know if the official name for the thing is a
Peter Heine
minus.
Nielsen and Jon Ludwig Hammer are being named.
But they aren't in this tournament, though.
Anish also has a... Doesn't Anish have a middle name?
I don't know. I mean, he has a patronymic because he was born in Russia, so...
Yeah, not what I mean. Anish, there's some other name in there, right? Not a good day for Anish. Played 1 game, lost with the white pieces.
Hang on a second. Is Jan now actually making a draw with King E5? I know you...
The thing is, the match is over, so I'm not sweating it as much as I should, because Jan's not winning. And if he is not winning, the team cannot come back.
Yeah. Knight C5, B3, King E5, I'm pretty sure is a draw, but now B3 is not forced. Now you can go King C4, and maybe you still win. According to the engine bar, Nakamura still winning. According to Peter as well. That's enough evidence for me. Yeah, and Hikaru doesn't fall for the trick and is now 2 pawns up in a knight endgame, which normally is what in the business we call enough.
Absolutely.
So in the general standings,
China
won both. The US is on 1.5 out of 2. Europe and Russia are both on -1. India is on -1, and rest of the world is on 50%, having lost 1 and having beaten India in round 2. I think I've covered all the teams there, so...
Great job. Jan Nepomniachtchi is about to
Yeah, that's not
resign
going to work
here
out for him.
if you take the pawn runs. If you take the pawn, the other pawn runs. So there's not much to talk about.
Yeah.
He's gonna go knight b2, king c3, knight d1, but there is no escape. No, he starts with king b6, d2.
But yeah, d2 there anyway, and
the game
and he does resign. Yeah. Yep. Nicely converted by Hikaru from the moment Jan continued avoiding forced draws due basically only to the match situation. But you take those. Obviously for Hikaru, it's still a win against a very strong player, regardless of the circumstances. And the US, I'm sure, are quite happy having beaten Russia with a +2 score. Tomorrow we have in round 3 China playing Russia, so the overall leaders of the tournament playing one of the teams on -1. India plays against Europe, and the US plays against the rest of the world. And in the second round of the day, Russia plays the rest of the world, Europe against the US, and China against India. So plenty of action tomorrow. We will continue, as Jan already mentioned, we will continue doing this. The J. Peterson show will be back tomorrow with the same
Peterman.
Yeah.
Not sure who that J. Peterson is.
Force professor.
Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, for more and better information, entertainment, of course, check out the official show. This is the Jan and Peter variety show that shall continue tomorrow. What do I have to plug? I'm gonna mess it up and click on the wrong button. I'm very scared. Oh yeah, chessable.com/Jan for my E4 E5 course, which many top players have called barely watchable. So check that out. Join Chess24. Even with a free account, have a look around, play some chess. And then our master plan is that you go premium. Support us. Make you watch all the video series, especially the Lawrence Trent series. But there are also some by Peter, yours truly, Magnus Carlsen, Vishy, all that stuff. You also help us arrange these tournaments and so on and so forth. Peter's going to be doing a banter blitz one of these days. Yeah, thank you, Peter, for doing the show on very short notice, because frankly, we weren't sure what's going to happen. I'm enjoying it. I would like to apologize for the usual things that I apologize about. The not enough chess, the bored, the detached, the unfocused, all that stuff. It will not get any better, but we will still love to see you again. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central European Standard Time. Thanks for watching.
Very much so. Until then, bye-bye.
E5, it's E5 Patzers.
A complete repertoire against 1E4 based on 1E5, now available to study with Chessable's unique Move Trainer technology. The backbone is the Marshall Gambit against the Spanish, with 3 Knight F6 against the Italian. Jan Gustafsson has revisited all these lines he has played for 20 years and worked on as a second for Peter Lecko and Magnus Carlsen, amongst others, with the help of the most powerful engines out there, Leela 0 and Stockfish 10. This has led to many new discoveries and a repertoire ready to master on Chessable that can serve the student for a long chess career.
Maybe E4 doesn't exist after all.
E5, it's E5 Patzers. Let's not just look at openings move by move, but let's try to understand a little something and look at a few typical structures that can arise out of a bunch of main openings. And hopefully, understanding these structures and the typical plans and the ideas will help you a little bit in your own practice. Laurent, what structures will we cover?
So first of all, we'll cover one very famous structure, Carlsbad structure, which can arise from the Queen's Gambit mainly, but from other openings as well. like the London system or the Karokan.
So, fond childhood memories of the Karlsbad. I think it's important for everyone to understand what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly. Then we'll have a look at some Rui Lopez, actually, which is the classical line, not the Marshall or the Berlin, but this classical position where White plays d4 and sometimes even goes like with the pawn on d5, or even sometimes taking on c5. We'll see some nice game of Bobby Fischer here, and some nice Karpov game after d5.
Here you will share your Russian upbringing with us. You have all the classical education in the Rui Lopez. Some nice examples there, hopefully. Then we move on to the French structure, which I don't understand particularly well, but this position has always intrigued me. Who's better and why? What are the plans? Why can White hope for an advantage? Is a space advantage such a big deal? And the French structure can of course arise mainly via the French after moves like knight c3, knight d2 or e5, but we also have a small detour into the Karokan, which is very similar, but not quite the same. I've always been intrigued by this one.
Because the bishop can go out here, bishop f5, and it's of course assist trumps for black, but it's not. Life is not that simple, as we will see. And the last topic will be the symmetrical positions, which kind of rise basically from different move order, like French exchange French or Petrov, we're showing right now, or even the Berlin Rookie 1, where we will see an unfinished masterpiece from the current world champion Magnus Carlsen.
Right. Symmetrical positions here, we mean these positions where either side is missing an e-pawn that are very common in today's practice. So this series is not intending to cover every pawn structure imaginable, but we hope we chose some that are instructive and relevant, and we hope that you'll enjoy it, maybe even learn something.